I have a lot of friends who are sober, a lot of friends who are straight edge, a lot of my friends who are going through it. I know struggling with substance abuse and alcoholism can be really, really hard, especially knowing who to turn to. It can be really, really daunting. I'm here to say that a good friend of mine and his friend started this incredible treatment center called Refine Recovery. They gave me a phone number, 855-516-3332. You can text, you can call them. It's totally confidential. It's safe. There'll be somebody on the other line to help you out, a compassionate human being to talk to help you navigate the process, the insurance treatments. They accept most of private insurances. You can go refinerecovery.com, Refine Recovery Instagram. I know it's hard, but reach out to somebody, man. People care about you. People love you. People want you to be here for a long time. People love you in their lives. If you're going through it, make this phone call. It's totally private. I know people DM me all the time about going through it and going through sobriety and trying to get straight and trying to take care of themselves. And the struggle is totally real. And Refine Recovery is the definitely move. Reach out to them, 855-516-3332, or text them, 855-516-3332. You can call or text this number anytime, 855-516-3332. You know the drill. This number is here for you to call. As we get older, we start paying attention to what we put in our bodies. I personally have been listening to my body since I was 18 when I went vegan. I've always been focused on my health. It's super important, mental and physical health. But it's really important for people who are just starting to get more healthy and trying to step up their life. Doing your homework, reading the labels, researching and verifying everything that's quality. It's part of the game these days. That's why I started drinking AG1s. I'm so proud to have them sponsor my podcast. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement that delivers daily nutrients and gut support and is backed by multiple research studies so you can trust what you're putting into your body. We're all so busy these days, so just throw a pack of AG1 in the morning into a cup of water and shake it up and drink it. I love the way it tastes. I do it every single morning. It's part of my routine. I bring the packets on tour. It's an incredible life changer for me. Many supplements only reference research from ingredients in their product, but I trust AG1 in my daily routine because it's constantly putting the formula to the test. It's backed by multiple research studies, and one of those research studies, AG1 was shown to have double the amount of healthy bacteria in the gut, which is super important because these help digestion in the immune system and the immune health. And these bacteria are known to help with digestion as well, gas and bloating, which I freaking need. And it also promotes regular bowel movements, what I can attest to. In another research study, 97% participants felt more energy after 30 days, and 91% of the participants noticed that they needed less coffee after 60 days. I quit coffee like 5 months ago. I know I'm good on that. But AG1 is packed with a variety of nutrient-dense ingredients and is the perfect complement to my healthy diet. I drink it because I know it's going to work, and it gives me a peace of mind covering all my nutrition bases for the day. In fact, I trust it so much, that's why I'm spreading the word about it. That's why it sponsors my podcast. Thanks to Angie Huberman for turning me on to AG1s, connecting me with them, and now they're part of my podcast. It's so easy and satisfying to start your day with AG1s. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of the vitamin D3K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your purchase at drinkag1.com/OLLC. That's drinkag1.com/OLLC. It's never been a better time to focus on your health and wellness and get back on track, man. Take control of your daily health. Health is wealth. Gotta give a big shout out to Liquid Death. I've been in a band called H2O for 30 years, and my first real job with a company is a water brand. Go figure. Love you, Liquid Death. Love the people. Love the brand, love the concept, love what they give back, love the community, love what they do for the environment. You can go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on any of their merchandise that they make. They have such incredible collabs. Also, if you want to hear the story of the CEO, my good friend Mike Cesario, on the podcast, you can go to episode 115, part 1. And then 2 years later, we dropped a part 2, which is episode 275 with the CEO, Mike Cesario. Just a man from Delaware with a dream, worked at a marketing company and made this become a reality. Liquid Death is an incredible company, incredible water, incredible people. And I'm super, super honored to be part of them. They sponsor my life. They sponsor everything, my family. So go liquiddeath.com/OLLC and get free shipping on anything you want to buy on that site. If you want to get water, it's exclusively on Amazon.com. Murder your thirst, y'all. Welcome to the One Life One Chance podcast. I'm your host, Toby Morse, back in my kitchen with my man, Michael Chernow. Thank you for being here so much. I appreciate you being here, brother.
I'm stoked to be here, man.
You were actually here yesterday. We had a misunderstanding, and I was down the street at our green table, and you sent me a text like, yo, I'm at your house right now. And I was down the street, but it worked out. It was perfect.
I blew it. That was just 100% full Chernow flop.
Upside down. Does the 3 hours kind of affect you out here or no?
It does, man. It does. And there's something like weird with my calendar. My calendar updates some appointments for the time change, and then some of them they don't. It's bizarre. I don't understand why, but so it does fuck me up. And also just traveling in general. Like I love traveling. I don't love being away from my wife and kids.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I do love traveling. But it's just hard to get like any kind of admin stuff done when I'm on the road, you know? And like my job at my company requires a fair amount of unfortunate computer work.
Just your sleep and everything's kind of upside down, and you're working out and all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing that I really do try my absolute best to stay consistent with. Like, it's hard, especially because I got some of the homies out here. So, like, whenever I'm in LA, you know, people want to hang until 10, but for me, that's 1.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
You know, so, like, it does throw me for a little loop, but I got Kreatures Sleep, man. I take that thing. It sets me straight, you know.
It works, right?
It works really well.
Well, thank you for being here. I'm trying to figure out how I found out about Kreatures of Habit. I don't know how we found out, maybe online or something. I don't know how we saw it. I think I saw the brand and I tried it. I don't know. It's so crazy how we met. Then you were on Rich Roll's podcast, which was awesome. It's just a small world, I think, you know?
Yeah.
We were talking yesterday, but just the different people we know in New York. And you worked at the Limelight. My wife worked at the Limelight. Palladium as well. It's crazy, man.
Well, I never worked at the Limelight.
Oh, you just hanging there? The
Limelight was the first club I ever went to was NASA.
I remember NASA, yeah.
So this is the first club I ever went to. I think I was literally either 12 or 13. And then I went to there's an old club that's still there. It became many different clubs over the years, but it was on 13th Street and 4th Avenue. And this guy Scotto was doing the door, and he was a maniac. But kind of gave me confidence that I could just go into clubs. Yeah. And so I told Scotto that I wanted to go to the Limelight because, you know, I was like, I'm 13. How the fuck am I going to get in there? He was like, oh. He was like, my friend Kenny does the door. All you got to do is give Kenny a kiss on the cheek, and, you know, she'll let you in. Wow. And I just took all my boys over there, and we were like, all right, man, we got to give Kenny a kiss on the cheek. But let's just get it. That was it. Wow, dude. Yeah. And I said, Scotto said that I can give you a kiss on the cheek and you let me in.
And how old are you then?
13.
That's crazy, dude. Yeah, because I listened to the podcast too. You out in the streets early too, man.
Young, yeah.
Yeah, and you lived uptown, like 87th Street?
87 between 1st and 2nd.
Yeah. It's such a different world up there too.
It is.
So for you, like, to go downtown, even like past, like I lived in Lower East Side, so I never went past like 14th or 23rd Street. I stayed in my little bubble. So going down there was like grimy. Especially back then too.
Oh yeah, I mean,
the Lower East Side.
I would say, you know, I moved into the Lower East Side probably when I was 16. I mean, I didn't really move in. I kind of just like slept on people's couches. Yeah. But from 16 to like 18, and then at 18 I moved out to Brooklyn for a year, and then I got my first real apartment where I was like paying rent with roommates when I was 19 on 9th between B and C.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And back then that was crazy.
It was kind of gnarly. I mean, it was just on the brink of changing. Like, you definitely saw some shit moving. Yeah. But, you know, typically before 1998, like, you're not going down there. No. For any reason outside to either A, see a show, B, potentially save the robots. Oh yeah. C, getting drugs.
Yeah, dude.
You know what I'm saying?
D dead. I think those projects are still kind of grimy on Avenue D probably.
They are.
They're still there, you know?
100%.
But yeah, so you're going downtown. So I mean, obviously I listened to the pod. You were out in the streets early. Kind of crazy childhood at home. How many siblings do you have?
One.
Just one.
I got an older sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys tight growing up?
We were not.
Okay.
Yeah, we were. I think it was like we were too close in age. we shared a bedroom.
That's right.
We had a really small apartment. We shared a bedroom, and that was just tough because, like, you know, if she had a friend over, you know, she would kick me out of the room. If I wanted to have a friend over, I had to fight with her to like get the room.
And plus growing through puberty and growing up and have alone time, all that shit, dude.
Yeah. There was like, you know, if I wanted to like handle my puberty stuff.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it was not possible. I had to really sneak.
Like in a 15-minute shower and shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Dude, I know.
But yeah, so you think about growing up that part of town, you know, it's nicer obviously than downtown, but then obviously you live in sharing a bedroom and growing up. And from what I understand is it kind of a physically and mentally abusive household. And then you're always in the streets and going to a friend's house and trying to escape that and being outside a lot, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just gravitated towards definitely being out of my house, but ultimately I like kind of learned early on that I had the gift of gab, and I was able to just talk my way into safer situations than what I was dealing with at home, you know?
Yeah. Were you going to school?
Yeah. I did. I actually finished school. I finished high school, which was crazy. I don't know how I did that because I moved out of my parents' house at 15. So at that point, like, and honestly, I got to say, like, I went to a high school in New York City that was super liberal. I went to LaGuardia High School, which is like, it's actually the Fame High School.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I went there for music.
Yeah.
And like, I really enjoyed my high school. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't enjoy the academic component of it, but like a lot of my boys, you know, we went to school, but we didn't really go to school. You know, we like show up to school, and then, you know,
do some other shit.
I got through high school by the skin of my teeth, which was a blessing, right? And,
were your parents strict about stuff like that, or grades and stuff, or
no? There was like.
They were doing their own thing, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the truth is that my mom was a secretary.
Yeah.
So my mom, she worked from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And my dad was on permanent disability. So he didn't do anything and was not involved in any part of my life. You know, he kind of like, he was mentally ill, you know, like he was a hoarder. So our house was really like, you know, it was rough. It was, it was just piles of shit everywhere. You kind of had to walk through like aisles to get through the apartment.
Crazy, man.
Yeah. And, you know, he would like lock himself. He basically built like a barricade in the corner of the living room, like probably like 5 feet high of like magazines and books and like milk crates of shit. Like he built this barricade around a computer, and he would just stay there all day and all night. And we would rarely. And if he did come out, it was like a fight.
Yeah.
You know, he was just angry.
It wasn't a good reason. Yeah.
He was an angry dude.
And your mom was probably dealing with a lot of that stuff too as well, and trying to hold it down. And
my mom was, and my mom, you know, my mom is loving, and I love my mom. She loves me. You know, my mom had her own shit. My mom definitely had her own shit. It was just it was a funky, dysfunctional situation, you know. But I don't regret it. You know, I think we all go through what we go through to get to where we're at. I believe that, you know. Yeah. And, you know, it was the path that was put in front of me, and I just kind of like navigated to the best of my ability, you know. Yeah.
And your exposure to like party and stuff was super young too as well, right?
Young. Yeah. Like
13, 14?
No, I mean, I think I got started with drugs when I was like 12.
Damn, dude.
And then from, you know, and it was pretty much like smoking weed in the beginning, and then drinking 40s. And then it was, you know, by the time I was a freshman in high school, like halfway through my freshman year, it was basically everything, you know.
Crazy, man.
But I always thought entrepreneurially. So like I had a job.
You're always working.
So I always had a job. And then when I was in high school, when I like freshman year of high school, when I really started to like get into like the sort of party scene, I just had the balls to own my high school for selling drugs. Mm-hmm. And so by the end of my freshman year, I was just kind of like, I figured that piece out, you know, and I was the kind of the guy.
Yeah. And I saw this one thing you mentioned, like your friend, the Ross house on 79th Street, your friend's house, you went over there and you kind of like really wanted those parents to see you and get the attention you weren't getting at home, and so you like became like kind of like a people pleasing person.
Yep. And that was
Just
like
to
first
be accepted
grade.
and feel kind of loved.
I was first grade.
It's heavy, man.
And then I did that with every other friend's parents that I, kind of like enjoy. Like if I had a friend that I liked, like I made sure that their parents liked me too. You know, so that it was like never a question if I was like, hey, can I sleep over?
Yeah, but it wasn't like you were a bad kid either. You just really wanted attention, I feel like, and to be like noticed and acknowledged that you were there. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Because you weren't getting it at your home. Like your dad wasn't saying I love you and shit like that, which is fucking crazy. When you become a parent, I can't even imagine that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I've recently gone through over the last 2 years some pretty deep, like significant breath work stuff.
Yeah.
And in that breath work, I found out a lot about the sort of underpinnings of why I made certain decisions in my life. Mm-hmm. And in one specific breathwork session, I found out that almost all the decisions, both good and bad, that I've made almost to date have been in an effort to get my dad to tell me he loves me.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah.
It's heavy, man. My dad passed when I was 3. My mom raised 3 boys on her own. She didn't have much time to be with us, but we always with my grandparents because she was working 3 different jobs. But yeah, just like I never had closure with my dad dying, so I started going to therapy this year about it. But just I can't imagine that. I'm sure you're a very compassionate, loving father, as I am too. Maybe over the top because growing up really didn't have that in our lives. You know what I mean? So then you become a dad, it gets super emotional. You become more sensitive. It's crazy, bro. I don't know. Since you became a dad, changed.
I think it can go one of 2 ways, right? You can either be like what you and I are, which is just the absolute fun-loving dad, and you want your kids to just have the best life ever.
Exactly.
Or you can, follow down the path that you were raised under. For me, it was, I was honestly very, very scared, and it was something that I kind of kept inside because I just didn't want to scare my wife necessarily with the fear that I was having.
Yeah.
Of what if, for whatever reason, these kids come and like something happens, something triggers me, and I end up falling into this abusive kind of frustrated, irritable, not loving. And I didn't think that I had that in me, honestly, but there was a real fear there before, when Donna got pregnant, when my wife got pregnant. Like, oh my God, am I going to be like that?
It's scary, man.
Yeah.
But then it happens. You're like, fuck, man, becoming a dad is just like the most incredible thing. It's like,
oh my God, I love my kids. I love my kids more than anything on the, like I am I mean, I don't want to say I'm the best dad ever, but like, I really do think that it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me.
I also think we come from a generation where our parents were kind of cold. They were just working. They were trying to like keep a roof over our heads, and they were just like, they hug you here and there, but they were doing their thing. And we were like kids in the street just hanging out. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like video games or computers or phones. We were just out there, and our parents loved us, but it wasn't like, I don't know, I feel like we're so connected to our kids. It's just like we talk about everything. There's an open communication. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, get emotional in front of them sometimes.
There was no, outside of anger, there was no emotion in my house.
Yeah.
None. There was not like, my mom was loving. I mean, my mom was loving, and she was like definitely like
she was probably scared too, though.
Well, she's clearly stated to me, she was scared. She wanted to leave, but she was scared that he was going to kill her. She was diagnosed with something called abused wife syndrome, which basically after a certain amount of abuse for a certain period of time, you kind of your brain kind of rewires a bit, and you make the abnormal normal, and you kind of dissociate from what's actually happening, and that's why you
checked out.
Yeah, you check out, and that's why people, there's like patterns that trauma victims like fall into, right? Like you had an abusive relationship and you find yourself in another abusive relationship.
Yeah, hurt people, yeah.
And then another abusive relationship,
man.
And you kind of bring people in your life because for whatever reason, there's this comfort zone of abuse, and I've actually found myself, I've made a number of those poor decisions in my life. I don't know how I chose my wife, because there is zero connection between anything that my mother or father, that I experienced with my mother or father that I experienced with my wife. My wife is like the chillest, most even keel, supportive, but stern. Like I need a stern woman in my life,
Yeah.
She's like a rock,
Yeah.
But yeah, man,
Blessing,
my life
man.
is my kids' life couldn't be any further from what I experienced as a kid.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. Just is your pop still around?
No, he died. He
Okay.
died when I was 20.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Was there any kind of closure there? Any conversations or anything before he passed?
So like at that age, I was kind of I was in the deepest, darkest kind of place in my addiction.
Yeah.
And I had actually come home I was living in LA, and I had come home for Christmas. And on Christmas Eve, my mother was there, my father was there, my sister was there, and my aunt, my uncle, and my two cousins were at our apartment. And like my mom had like gone, like my mom knew I was coming home for the holiday, and so she like really cleaned up the apartment, and like really it looked like so much better than it had ever looked. And then on Christmas Eve, my dad had a massive seizure, and we had to rush him to the hospital, and he went into a coma like a day later, and I never got to like have a real man-to-man with him,
Holy shit.
But I will say that he died on January 9th, 2001. On January 8th, I asked everybody to leave the hospital room. And I just sat down with him while he was in a coma, and I just like made peace. I was just like, look, man.
That's amazing, man.
I forgive you for everything that we've gone through, and I'm sorry for any pain that I've put you in. And, it was a really emotional experience for me. I was also high as a kite. But that night, interestingly, when I came home and I was sleeping on the couch at my mom's apartment, I had a dream that he died. And then the next morning they told us he was dead.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Dude. That's heavy, man.
Yeah.
At least you had your peace with him and said that.
I had my peace with him. And then I'll tell you, like, maybe as we get further along in the pod, like, I had this, well, I'll just say it now. So I've been doing this breath work.
Yeah.
Have you ever done any kind of like holotropic? Oh yeah, we talked about
this
that.
Recently,
right?
Yeah, Lucas Macker just did it at my house recently.
Yeah, so I
work
with this dude, Mike Gazzo, and he's been like holding space for me in the breath for almost a little over a year now. And we were in this one session, and he always asks me to set an intention before we get into the work.
Yeah.
And so I didn't, sometimes I feel like I've got something to say, and other times if I don't really feel like a calling to say anything, I'll just be like, I just want to peel back the onion further, I just want to look a little deeper. And so that was the case for this. And so we got into the breath work, and like within 5 minutes, I just had this like intense sadness, dude, like super sad. I didn't know why, but I was bawling, crying, insanely emotional, and just heavy, heavy, heavy. And then the thought came to my mind, which tends to happen in breath work. You just kind of get these like either visions, or you get like you hear a voice, or you just kind of feel something. Mm-hmm. And it was basically saying to me, you've made all the decisions in your life because based on your sort of pursuit of your father's love, and he's dead now, and you never actually got it. And I was just like gutted.
Wow,
dude. I was
man.
Gutted. So I'm like having this thing, and I'm really feeling it. And honestly, that's why I think the breath work is like just so powerful, dude. It's just like so fucking powerful.
Yes.
And so we keep going through it. And Mike is in my ear because I got headphones on. I'm listening to the music. He knows that I'm going through a really intense thing. He could see it. I'm like really having like an emotional kind of, purge. And he goes, "You okay?" And I was like, "I'm okay." And then within the last 5 minutes of the thing, all of a sudden I get this kind of outer body experience. And I was lying on the floor of my office on this mat, and I kind of like, in the outer body, in the vision, or whatever you want to call it, I was kind of like below myself on the ground, looking up at me lying down. So kind of like an angle like that. And then I see, it wasn't my office, it was another room, but I see there's a door in the corner of the room, And it's so clear for me how this was. But there's a door in the corner of the room. The door opens up and my father walks in, and he's like young, and he's got like facial hair, and he's like thin, and he looks healthy, and he doesn't take note of me. He kind of is just like looking around like this. And then he just kind of looks over this way, doesn't look down at me on the floor, but he looks over this way. And like as soon as he looked over, I kind of went back into my body, and I see him, I'm kind of looking up at him, and he's walking over to me, still not looking down, but he kneels down on a knee. He like kind of kneels down right next to me, and he puts his hand through my hair, and he comes right up to my ear, and he goes, "I love you, son."
Bro, man. I just got goosebumps,
Dude.
Man. Holy shit.
It was intense.
Wow, man.
It was intense, dude. And
you almost have never heard that in your whole life too, probably from him.
Not that I can recall.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. And
That's
so
real, man.
It was very real, dude. It was very real. And so when you asked if I have closure, like I do now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's just recently too.
Yeah, it was probably about 6 months ago. And
dude.
I like when I came out of it, you know, I was obviously super duper fragile, and I told him what happened, and I was like, man, I just had this crazy vision. And he was like, you know, man, you can chalk it up as a vision, something that you created in your head, or your father visited you and just let you know that he does love you, and he always has, you know. It's intense.
It's crazy, man.
It's intense.
Yeah, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Because before I did my breathwork, I talked about different parts of my life too, like, you know, some things with my mom and resentments and shit like that too. And it's crazy, man. I'm thinking about your dad right now. It's wild, man.
Yeah. No, it was but I've had a number of crazy experiences like that. I mean, there was
Have you tried all therapies too leading up to breathwork?
Oh yeah, I've been in and out of therapy.
Regular therapy, all that stuff.
And also, you know, I'm in recovery for a long time, right? So I'm sober 20
years. I know. It's congrats, man.
Thanks.
Crazy.
And so
since August, right?
August 24, 2004.
Yeah.
So
damn.
like in the world of recovery, you know, like you go through these steps, and you know, if you're in recovery long periods of time, you know, you tend to do those steps multiple times. And I've probably gone through that process 4-5 times, something like that. And it always is a powerful experience. It always is a real deep dive. The first time I did it, I don't think I gave it everything I got, because I was just so like, I was still lying a lot. I was still like trying to make people want like me, you know.
Yeah.
And the second time I did it, I felt a little bit more relief. And then the third and fourth time I did it, like I really just dove deep. And so it is like a real healing process.
Yeah.
But I've been in and out of therapy a lot over the years, you know.
Since when you were young, did you go too?
Very young.
Yeah.
I mean, I was seeing the social worker in like first, second grade of my.
Because I know you went to like try to send you like a psych ward too, right?
I went to a psych ward when I was 12.
12 years old. Yeah. That's heavy too. How long were you there for?
They only had me there for like 24 hours.
Okay,
because they basically I was mandated to go there, because the school, when I came to school the next day and I had bandages on my wrists, you know, I had to go see the social worker because I was, you know, already involved in them. That's when they brought in the child services.
You guys were sharing a room, and that was illegal too.
I was illegal.
I didn't even know that was illegal too. That's crazy. I know that.
Yeah, you can't have same-sex adolescents sharing a bedroom.
Wow.
Yeah. But they basically were like, okay, you know, immediately like call my mother. You have to take him to Pain Whitney Mental Institution. We're calling them to let them know that you're coming in, and he needs to be evaluated for, you know, suicidal ideation and attempting suicide. And then of course, once that happened, it escalated. Child services got involved because I told them that what happened. I just said, look, you know, I did this to get my father to kind of see me.
Jesus.
And he beat me up after I did it. And that's what happened, you know? And so child services got involved.
Did he get in trouble? Nothing at that point? Nothing, right?
No.
It's crazy. And you were saying too, were you selling drugs at the private school?
I didn't go to private school. I went to public school.
Public school.
But
I think the private kids have had all the money for drugs, though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So like a lot of the private school kids had.
They party a lot too, yeah.
Big time party animals.
Yeah.
You know? The first time I used drugs was with a really great friend of mine, who she went to private school, and so she had like access to all this stuff young, you know. Yeah.
I think you lived with some girl at NYU too, at a dorm too, when you first kind of moved out.
Yeah.
The girl, yeah.
I moved into Alumni Hall on 9th and 3rd, and I kind of just crashed on her floor for a while, 6-8 months.
But you always kept a job too.
I did.
You always worked.
I
You
always worked.
survived. You were survival mode.
Yeah, I always worked.
Even while you're partying, probably selling shit, you're still working too.
Well, the thing is that industry, right? Like at night, you know, like that's just what it is. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
you know, there's a big epidemic in the hospitality world for alcoholism, drug addiction.
Cocaine's big too, right? Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
Back of house, front of house, everywhere. You know, it's just like it runs rampant through the drugs.
Still to this day.
100%.
Damn.
Yeah.
Just because how fast everything's moving.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's gotten I mean, I don't know because I've been so far away from it, but like, you know, like when I was active, there wasn't a single person in the restaurant that I worked at that was not active as well. We all were active. I mean, I probably took it to the next level than most of them, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know.
I watched that show, The Bear. It's like super intense.
Yeah.
It's that kind of energy too. It's like.
Very much so.
So that's them not really on coke. Imagine them on coke because everything's moving fast. It's just like their whole cycle all night, dude.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you work in a high-paced, busy spot, you know, where like it's just like people don't have the time to kind of question whether you're high or fucked up. You know, they're just like, all right, we gotta get this shit done. And,
yeah.
You know, for me, I was really good at working under the influence.
Also, like you weren't really having like meals with your family at home. Yeah, I'm sure your mom was cooking, but like how you got into cooking and all that stuff too is interesting because I don't think you guys were sitting down having.
We never had a dinner together.
That's what I'm saying. It's like
we didn't even have it. So it's
that.
so interesting. Like I'm on a therapy session 2 weeks ago. She was asking me. I'm like, I just started with a new therapist like 6 or 8 weeks ago, and she's an EMDR specialist, and I'm really like looking forward to getting into that. But it's like a slow process. She was like, let's work on a lot of some of this. I want to know enough to be able to like really sort of pinpoint where we're going to work on with the EMDR.
Yeah.
But she was asking me all these questions, and I don't remember a lot. You know, I'd really disassociated from my childhood a lot. You know, for I think probably a number of reasons. But
of course,
I was like, look, I don't really remember a lot of this stuff. I wonder if my sister does. So I was like, do you mind if we call my sister? Now my sister and I have like the absolute best relationship.
Awesome.
I fucking love my sister with all my heart. My sister and I are super tight.
It's great, man. Were there years you guys kind of distant?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she obviously felt bad when I got, you know, deeply addicted to drugs. I mean, you know, but I kind of like, I cut ties basically with my whole family. Cool. But when I came back from that, my sister got a little resentful because I immediately went to the complete opposite direction, and I just went super wellness, health, fitness, bro. You know?
Yeah.
And she was like, "What the fuck? Like, what is this? Like, oh, now you think you're too good? You know, like, oh, you can't eat. You know?" And I was just
was she into fitness and stuff too, or no? Okay.
No. Damn, Stella, you just let her rip.
Oh, so that's a good. So okay, so you're embroiling this in people. Only a couple of people have been farted on, so it's. So you're very special. I'm sorry about that.
No, dude, I got dogs, man.
She's comfortable with you.
I got dogs, and that's actually not a bad one.
So your sister's like, you were just freaking in the streets doing drugs.
Yeah.
And now you're Mr. Healthy, and you're
right.
fucking.
And my sister just
she should
was
be
like,
stoked for you though. That's like a huge turnaround. Yeah.
So anyway, so I said, hey, like, you know.
Sorry about that.
No, come on, man. I've got dogs that'll blow this room
you got
up.
some big ass dogs.
Big
I know,
dogs.
dude. Bigger than human shit.
If Murphy farts,
I smell that too.
Yeah,
Fuck, okay.
It's like when he farts, it's bad news.
When your dogs poop bigger than you, they're big dogs. All right, so back. Let's go.
So yeah, so I said, hey, you know, would it be okay with you if I tried to call my sister and have her help me kind of like identify some of these things? And she was like, sure. So I call my sister and I'm like, hey, like, you know, what did we eat? Because she was asking me, like, what did you eat as a kid? Like, you know,
yeah,
and I just didn't remember. I was like, I you know, like I remember, you know, my mom would cook like chicken cutlets and we would order Chinese food every once in a while. But like, there was never memory around eating in my house because it never was like a thing. So I said, Nicole, like, what did we do? Like, what did mom cook? Like, where did we? She was like, honestly, I just don't remember.
Wow.
And I was like, so like, but what did we do? Did we ever have dinner together? Like what was, how did it go down? Like, where did we eat dinner? Cause I couldn't remember. Like, she was like, well, you know, we would either go into our bedroom and eat on our bed or, you know, eat on the couch or the coffee table. And yeah, it was just like,
Interesting.
it was a very, very weird kind of almost Twilight Zone-y thing.
Yeah.
Where it was just, I mean,
Sounds dark.
it was dark, man. And like, I don't know. I've never actually said this on a podcast before. So, and I just can't imagine my mom finding this one. I don't know if I should say it.
That's okay. You don't have to.
Yeah.
You put in your book when your book comes out.
Yeah. I'll wait for her to pass away.
But yeah, so obviously you start working at restaurants. So you're behind the scenes with all that kind of stuff, the food and industry and all that. So like,
yeah, like I got a
age.
job at 12 working at the Cano Cafe.
I know, it's just crazy. Shout out to Benet, which is so nuts. Cano 79 and Cano Cafe was one of my favorite restaurants in New York City for many, many years. Even when I moved out of that, I would always go back to it. It's all gone now. And yeah, Benet came out.
Cano Cafe is gone?
Yeah, it's gone, dude.
Oh, wow.
There were two, the east and the east side, you know what I mean?
Joey and Bart, dude. Those two were like the husband and wife owners of that place.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Joey and Bart.
Yeah, it was a wonderful vegan spot where my boy Chef Tall from Crossroads, he worked there as an apprentice behind the scenes before he came and started his own restaurant here, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, so I got a job there. I was delivering videos from Couch Potato Video.
That's right. And selling weed and doing videos and delivering food.
Well, actually, the weed came after the restaurant. So it was basically like I was delivering videos.
So sick.
And on rollerblades.
Rollerblades were the shit back then, though.
Yeah, on rollerblades, delivering videos. And then my boy Dan was working at Cano Cafe. He was in the delivery department answering the delivery phone. And he was like, and it was literally, I think Cano Cafe is on like 76th and 3rd. Couch Potato was on 78th and 3rd. He was like, dude, you should deliver videos and food for us because you're already out there. Like, it'll be easy. Yeah. So I was like, all right, cool. So I got a job there as a food delivery guy, delivering couch potato videos. And then I knew this Rasta, who was a really cool guy, much older, but I knew him from kind of like a couple of people in Central Park, and I knew that he had a weed delivery serve. And so I just was like, yo, dude, I'm out here delivering. Like, if you want to give me some deliveries from like 96th Street to 59th Street, I think I can like do deliveries for this. And so I would deliver food. I would deliver vegan food from Candle, videos, and then trees. And so I always had weed on me. And so if I would get to someone's door and I kind of suss them out a little bit, I'd be like, hey, I got some weed. Yeah, are you interested in any weed? And so I was just like
your meal?
hustling,
Yeah. Wow.
But
man.
yeah, so my introduction to food though, and so this is funny. This is actually a really cool thing to talk about with you on specifically. So I didn't eat meat until I was about 18.
Okay.
And the reason why was because when I had two really, really bad experiences with meat in my young years. One, I had a babysitter from England who like babysat us every once in a while. And she told me that tuna fish was fish guts. And I was like 5 or something like that. And so I was like, okay, I'm never going to eat fish again.
Holy shit.
And then I went to McDonald's once and I had a chicken McNugget and I bit into the chicken McNugget and there was a full chicken foot in the McNugget. So
no way.
Right in the McNugget, full chicken foot. And it was so traumatic for me.
Disgusting.
It was so traumatic.
Imagine, dude.
So I basically had like done away with meat. And even from when I was a young kid, like my mom will tell me, all you wanted to eat was fruit, cucumbers, and you loved salads. Like you just were not into, super weird. But
yeah.
So I didn't eat meat. So the Cano Cafe was perfect for me because I didn't know like the levels of vegan food.
Totally.
But man, like the kale at Cano Cafe and the carrot ginger sauce at Cano Cafe, and they had all sorts of like really amazing miso dressings and just like they had so many the steamed vegetable, like everything they did there was just so bomb.
And their skewers, like whatever the tofu thing they made, there's some sort of seitan. They had something special they had. They forgot they made the homemade stuff.
They just like the food there was bomb.
Yeah.
And the smell of that restaurant, like every time I walk in there, like the smell of that restaurant, it was like you could smell the vegetables, but it was like this really wholesome aroma. And I just loved working there. So eventually they brought me into the kitchen and I started dishwashing and then I was prep cooking. And then ultimately they like asked me if I wanted to be a busboy. So like I kind of got like cut my teeth there at the Candle.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I was there for a couple of years, I think, and then I left there because I wasn't making enough money, because I wasn't able to get like I like didn't like the staff there had been working there for fucking years before me, and there was no way for me to move up, and I was still super young. I was illegal, right? I was 14 years old.
It's crazy, man.
So I went to this is a funny story. So I started looking for more busboy gigs, and I went to this Mexican restaurant on 85th Street and 2nd Avenue called Mustang Bar and Grill. And they hired me to be a busboy. And my first day on the job, and this is the only time this has ever happened to me in my 30 years of working in restaurants. I was asked, I was basically like standing at the pass, which is kind of what the pass is like, the counter between the kitchen and the dining room. Yeah. And that's where all the cooks and the chefs put the food up on the pass, right? So I was there just looking at the food, trying to learn the food. So the expediter, who's like the guy running the pass, was telling me, okay, this is this dish, this is this dish, these are these ingredients, these are these sauces. When this dish comes out, you got to grab a ramekin of jalapenos, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so I was running a ramekin of jalapenos to a table, and this server stopped me and he goes like, are those going to table 32? And I was like, yep. And he grabs the ramekin out of my hand. He goes, mixes it with his fingers and goes, bring it to the table.
No way.
And dude,
who was that 32?
I don't even know, but I know that it was like a moment of, it was like a.
That's fucking horrible, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah. And that's the only time that's ever happened to me. But like, I think that shit used to happen more back in the day. But you know, I was terrified, and so
that's fucking terrifying.
I did not bring it to the table.
Good.
And
I wonder why they did that shit.
Yeah, I did not bring it to the table. I don't remember what happened after that. I think I brought it back to the pass. I spilled that one out, and I grabbed another one. You know, but
good kid.
Yeah,
that's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, so I loved working in restaurants though. I loved working in restaurants. I worked in restaurants all through high school.
You assume it's kind of a place you actually be yourself.
I just felt like I was always the youngest, and my life outside of the restaurant was not as present as it was when I was in the restaurant.
Yeah,
because people respected me because I was like a worker amongst.
They were counting on you. They needed you.
Right.
Yeah, that's crazy. So that was kind of your full-time thing for a while.
Yeah, that was like my escape zone. You know, like I would get out of school and I'd go to the restaurant at 4:00. You know, and like my parents were like happy about that because my dad didn't give a fuck and my mom was working. So, you know, if I found something to like, you know, from 12, 13 years old, like keep me busy till 9, 10 o'clock at night, it was like gravy. And I made money, so I didn't have to ask them for anything.
Did you have goals at that time when you were out of school, like what you wanted to do or anything?
No, I mean, I think as I got a little older, like probably like because I went to art school and I was exposed to all this art, I would hang out with the drama students a lot down in the basement because we all would just get high and, you know, fuck around. And I kind of had I was like drawn to acting. And even still to this day, like I feel like I love acting. I really do. Like I think at some point in my life, like it'll be something I pursue. But as like in my mid-teens, I kind of had this idea that I was going to become an actor. And then when I was 18 after high school, I ended up signing up for this acting program with a really, really well-known acting teacher named Nina Murano in the city. But I just like, I couldn't keep it together. I was too fucked up.
Damn.
So what happened was, you know, I was deep in the throes at that point, and I was deep in the throes of selling drugs too. And when I was 19 years old, I got that apartment on 9th Street between B and C, and that was kind of like my apartment, but it was also like a stash house for me. And my roommates knew what the deal was, and we made it like very, very clear, like, you do not bring people to this apartment. No deals get done in this apartment. No people that we don't know come into this apartment. Yeah. The only people that can come here are either your girlfriends or your like very close friends that we all know.
Yeah.
And one day I came home to the apartment, and one of my roommates, who was just kind of like he was from Connecticut, you know what I mean? He wasn't like, you know, that's all kind of I have to say.
Yeah.
But he wanted to be down, but he was, you know, it was like a weird kind of thing, or he wasn't really, me and my other roommate were kind of like manning the show here. We had to serve and all this stuff. Anyway, I come home one day and it's Eli and like 4 straight thugs. Like you see them walking down the street at 2:00 in the morning. You're like, oh, something's about to go down for sure, 100%. And they're all smoking trees in the living room. And I walk in, I see what's happening, and I'm like, oh my God, it's about to go down. Like I gotta like suit up. I gotta make sure that I'm like ready for something.
Yeah.
So I go into my bedroom and I kind of do what I gotta do to protect myself in the event that shit goes down. And nothing happens. But I hear Eli talking like, I could do this and I can get this and I can go, bless you here and bless you there. And they left. And after they left, I walked in there and I was like, yo, dude, you just ruined everything. I was like,
absolutely,
you ruined everything. He's like, nah, man, these guys are good. Like they're friends. My boy Jay, he was one of those guys. I've known him for years. And I'm like, dude, you don't know those guys. And you don't know, like, you don't know what, and a month later, I was walking up to my apartment. I put my key in the hole, and then 3 guys come we lived on the 4th floor. These guys were sitting in the staircase on the 5th floor, and they were waiting for me to come home.
No.
And I put the key in the door, boom, rushed in, all guns, pistol whip.
You were.
Oh yeah. Pistol whip, duct tape my hands, duct tape my feet, threw me in the bathtub. Like I thought it was game over for a minute. But then I realized, I'm like, it's Friday at 4:00 in the afternoon. Like these dudes are not going to start shooting at 4:00 in the afternoon. And then it was one white kid, one black kid, one Spanish kid. And the white kid who was in the bathroom, and unfortunately one of my friends was with me who was definitely not in the game. So he had to deal with this shit too. But the white kid that was duct taping us in the bathroom was like, he basically blew his cover because he was like, yo, I'm sorry. I got to do this. And that was just like, for me, I was like, all right, these dudes are not here to like hurt anybody,
Yeah.
But there were 2 safes bolted into the ground, one in my bedroom and one in Gary's room. And they were like, give me the codes to the safes. And I was like, I knew in my head, this is after the kid.
Yeah.
And I ended up finding out who these kids were, but
fuck.
This is after this is after he said, I'm sorry, I just gotta do this. Like he kind of like showed a soft side, and I just knew that they were not going to shoot me or Khan. I was like, I'm not giving you the code to the safes. You're gonna have to, take me. I'm not doing it, because I knew that if I had given the codes to the safes, I would have been in like death territory anyway, based on what was in those safes. And then, man, like God really showed up for me at that very moment, because Gary walked into the apartment. Gary like came home.
Yeah.
And he came home, and they rushed him, and he was screaming. Gary was screaming, and he's a tough dude, but he was like, what the fuck, screaming. And so obviously it was making noise. When they showed up for me, it was quick and dirty. Right. Like they had me yoked up fast, and they put a gun in my mouth like quick.
It's fucking crazy.
So it was a fight to get Gary. He's a big dude. And so I think they kind of just like, they came off with like 50 G's in cash, 5 pounds of weed.
They ended up getting one of the safes?
No.
Oh, just somewhere else in the house.
I had 5 pounds of weed in the fridge.
Fuck.
And then I had like, in those days, like I had like a North Face collection that was like, I'd been collecting North Faces for like 10 years.
They took it all?
They took all the North Faces.
Dude.
Yeah, it was like 20, 30 crisp, like, and that was like, just the North Face Extremes, like the sickest colorways, those are like, I was such a collector.
That's fucked.
They took them all. And that's what they got off with. And when they left, I had no idea who set this up. Yeah. But obviously I knew I was set up, but I had no idea who set it up. And I didn't think about the guys, because, I'm also I'm getting high too. Right.
Yeah.
So like, I just didn't put 1 and 2 together from a month ago. The weed that was in my fridge had been there for like almost 2 weeks. And I got a call from this kid Ninja, rest in peace, who dropped that weed off 2 weeks ago. And I called him the day before, and I was like, Ninja, this shit is dead weed. Like, I'm not moving it. It's not, it's just, it's turning. Like, you got to come scoop it up. Like, I can't move it for you. I'm not, nobody wants it. I don't want it. You know, you just dropped it off here. And
it goes bad in there, like 2 weeks, yeah.
No, it does. It's not that it goes bad. It was just like outdoor weed is like super leafy. And so it can get like, it can just get like musty, you know? And like that musty smell, if it's not manicured well, like it just, people don't want that. They want that like, you know, that ill shit. And so I called him and I was like, you just gotta come get it. And I was like, that's it. And then just set me up. There's no doubt about it. And then just sent these guys over here to rob me. And then he was going to try to ask me to pay him for it. And I was like, that's it. So I call up Ninja. I'm like, you motherfucker. Like, how could you, like, why would you do that? Like, dude, bro, like, you know, we've been homies for so long. Like, why would you do that? And he's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, dude, don't front. I know that you just sent over fucking 3 dudes to just get me.
Yeah.
And he denied it to the 10th degree. I started calling other people, and I called this dude who I grew up with, who is like a weird kind of cat, but like he knows people from all over the city. Yeah. And he's just like this crazy lunatic, little Puerto Rican dude. And he's like, let me see what I can find out.
Damn.
And he found out exactly who did it. And so this dude, the dude that set it all up was the white guy, Adam. And he was leaving town. He was leaving New York. And he set up like 4 or 5 people in a 24-hour period of time. He robbed like 4 or 5 people.
Wow, dude.
The one kid, Flav, who was the black kid there, was a straight killer. And so like my thought of, hey, they're never going to shoot. Like if shit went down to it, there was a chance that this kid would have done something crazy that.
Yeah.
And so, but at the end of the day, that dude, Jay, who was in the apartment a month ago, was the one that leaked everything to Adam and Flav. And that's how it all happened. But I moved to LA because after that shit happened,
soon after that,
right after that, because I was like, all right, I like got to get out of here. Like, you know, I just got to get out of here.
Did you know people out here?
Yeah, I knew 2 of my friends who are still my best friends now. They were moving to LA. They were moving to Market Street in Venice.
Okay.
And I was like, yo, let me just hop on the bandwagon with you. Like, let me just I'll come out there. I'll get my life together. I'll go to Alcoholics Anonymous. I'll get my shit together.
You were saying you kind of 86 from all the bars at that point, right?
I was done.
You run through everything in New York.
Actually, I didn't get 86 until I was back in New York in my 20s.
Oh, so we came back. Okay, damn.
Yeah, but so I moved to LA, you know, but I was working in nightclubs. I was working at Life nightclub. Yeah. I mean, I was working at all these crazy clubs. And
16 years old, you're working there, right?
I got a job at Life when I was 15.
15.
Steve Lewis hooked me up with a first he gave me a job handing out flyers in front of all the other clubs. And then when he saw what I was able to do, because back in those days, there was no like email lists, you know what I mean? It was like, It was like flyers, right? It was flyers and mailing lists.
Mailing lists, yeah.
And so what they used to do with the flyers is you would have like a sticker with your initials on them.
Okay.
And you would initial all the flyers that you would hand out. And they would actually take the flyers because those flyers were a discount for cover. And then they would count all the flyers that had your initial on it.
Wow.
And so they just knew that I was a hustler. Like I was in front of every club at the perfect hours. Like I was just like out in the street on my rollerblades.
That's amazing, the rollerblades.
Yeah, 14, 15. And so
you never skateboarded?
I ended up getting into skateboarding.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I ended up getting into skateboarding. But you know, because I played hockey as a kid, that's where the rollerblades kind of came in, and I was kind of nasty with it. But I ended up, so I moved out to LA, and that's when I was like, all right, I'm gonna come to LA and I'm gonna get this acting thing on.
Yeah.
And it was really just bad.
It was bad?
LA was bad for me. I wrecked a motorcycle. I wrecked 2 cars. I mean, it was like.
Were you driving in New York?
No.
Yeah.
No, the 3rd time I drove, I took my driver's license test out here.
Damn.
Yeah.
She was kind of got worse out here.
It got bad because I had to drive.
Yeah.
You know, and I was not like trying to slow down. I went to an AA meeting though. As soon as I got out here, I went to a meeting, or I went to a couple of meetings, and I started to feel like, oh wait, maybe I can do this. And then probably like a week and a half, 2 weeks in, I locked eyes with this girl at a meeting who was beautiful. And then her and I met up after the meeting, and that was it. It was a wrap. Like her and I just like went deep.
Damn.
Just right to the bar.
Right to the bar.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Or maybe it was a liquor store. Yeah.
It's crazy what that happens with people in meetings too. I hear that all the time. Different people that are trying to do it, and they end up meeting some other person there, and they start dating. They both start partying again. And damn. So LA wasn't good for you then, yeah.
No, but that's
how long did you last out here?
A year.
Fuck. Okay.
Yeah, a year. I lasted a year, and I did some real funky acting gigs. You know, some real funky.
Any footage
shit.
of it anywhere?
Probably not. Thank
Okay.
God. I got casted onto this independent film called Rattlesnake Heart.
Okay.
And they brought me out to the desert, and I was like, it was basically like a kind of like a reenactment, or like a different take on that movie Spanking the Monkey. Do you remember that thing?
Yeah.
Where the son like falls in love with his mother.
Oh fuck! I don't think I know that.
Yeah. So anyway, so I go out there and we're doing this, and like there's a scene. There was a lot of love scenes. I was like, oh, there's a lot of love scenes in this shit. Anyway, one like 3 days in, they were like, all right, you got to put on this leather jock strap.
Ooh.
And I was like, you know what? I don't think this is for me. I was like, take me home. It's too much. Like, I can't do this. You know, it was like, I think it was legit like a.
Like I'm in the wrong industry. This is not the right kind of acting I want to do.
This is the adult entertainment business. So I was
so you're out of here.
I was out, and then
Were you missing New York when you were out here? What is that lifestyle? Or?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
You know, I had a girlfriend that I loved. I mean, I had a girlfriend in New York that I really, really loved, man.
Damn.
I loved her a lot, and I remember, what I do remember is like, you know, talking to her, and she would send me shit, and I mean, I you know, but you had
a lot of girls back then? 'Cause you're a handsome guy, outgoing dude, charisma. I'm sure besides you're also in the streets partying, working at restaurants.
I never had a problem with that.
Yeah. I mean, first you move out to NYU with a girl, so it's like, okay, you're super young. It's crazy.
Yeah, I never had.
You always had ladies in your life.
That was always like a, you know, something that I didn't have to, you know, that kind of came naturally to me.
Did the partying affect relationships with women? Like, you didn't have any long relationships back then?
I mean, I would have long relationships, but I was a terrible, terrible, terrible boyfriend. Just a terrible boyfriend. I was never abusive.
Yeah.
I was never like, you know, but I would, you know, I was never loyal. You know, like I was always just
out there.
Yeah, on to the next
one.
It was never a good thing, you know. And there were a couple of girls over the years that like I ended up having to, obviously, once I got into recovery,
apologize to, go back to,
make a deep amends to, you know, because I was, you know, I would disappear for 3 days, and they would be calling me, you know, whatever, and I just would like completely just, you know, and they loved me, you know, and I didn't know what love was then, so I was just, you know, I was bad news.
So you go back to New York, and like, what's your goals when you go back there? Just to
well, honestly, what happened was I came back to New York, and for Christmas, my father died on that trip.
That's when you came back.
I just never went back to LA.
Yeah.
I left all my shit. I was basically sleeping on couches anyway at that point. And so I was just like, fuck it. I'm leaving everything there. I'm starting fresh. I'm going to try to figure out a different situation here. And,
were you working out during these years? Were you in good shape?
No. Okay. No, nowhere close. No way. The only way I was not like, you know, totally out of shape was because I loved smoking crack, you know, so like that would keep me thin.
Dude,
you know, so a lot of cocaine, a lot of crystal meth.
So you're always ripped.
I was always pretty like, I was never ripped, but I was never like overweight because I would go 2-3 days without eating. You know? Like the most eating I did. Pop style. Yeah, I thought like Orangina was my thing.
Orangina.
So I would drink a lot of Orangina.
What the hell? It's so random.
Yeah, I don't know why, but like Orangina was just like, if I was hungry, or like if not even hungry, if I felt like I need any sort of sustenance, I would just go for a large
thought that was
one
a
of those
healthy
big,
drink?
Yeah, one of those big Oranginas.
This is real orange juice.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
It's like my go-to.
So
Snapple and Orangina.
So then you stay in New York, and you're still back in the restaurant business at that point.
Yeah, so I got a job at this restaurant, Frank.
Frank.
And at that point, like, you know, I had sort of.
This is the Frank guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I retired my rollerblades at like 15. I started skating.
Nice.
And
You a good skater?
I was never like great, but I love skateboarding.
Yeah.
And
Whole culture and shit. Yeah.
yeah, I love skateboarding, but I was never like the nasty skater. But I got decent, you know. And
skating in New York must be crazy, just through all Manhattan.
Oh, so much! It was so much fun, man. Damn. You know, like we would. So I would skate at the Brooklyn Banks, which was like a fun place
Legendary,
to just chill.
Dude. Yes.
And you know, lots of nights there, listening to Wu-Tang and smoking lots of weed and getting high and drinking and
smoking blunts.
And yeah, and there was a number of really dope spots to skate in the city. You know, like
the Brooklyn
Tompkins Square Park was actually not a skate spot back in those days, but it is a massive skate spot now. They turned basically the whole entire basketball courts into like a skate park. Like
really?
Oh yeah, like they bring in equipment and they do it. It's like
holy shit. That's
there's rails and ramps and everything. But in those days, it was not. No. Washington Square Park was a pretty dope skate spot. There's a lot of cool sort of features there, but and also the band shell in Central Park was a pretty cool spot to skate.
Okay.
So,
were you going to Supreme back then? When it was just like a skate shop?
Oh my god, I have such a funny story about Supreme, man. So
dude, it was just a skate shop for all of us living in New York back in the day. It was just a spot on Thompson. I forgot.
Lafayette.
Yeah.
So I was I started making runs with a bike. Right when I kind of gave up my rollerblade vibe, I had the sickest bike, dude. I had this green Harrow Extreme, sick dope bike, and I was doing runs on the bike, and so I would do runs all day long, and then like I would just like, you know, we would end up meeting downtown, either at the Cube or, you know, somewhere around there, and my boy Al and I went down to Supreme, and we both were making runs, and we locked our bikes outside of Supreme on like those, like, you know, bike things. And I'll never forget this, man. So we're inside Supreme, and I think Alex, do you know Alex Corporon?
Yeah.
So Alex was like, yo, that dude's stealing your bike. So we like run outside. This dude is running down he clipped our chains, and he's running down the street with our bikes. And this is back in the day when the chains had those like neon kind of plastic thing around them. So Alex grabs the chain, and he's swinging the chain over his head, trying to like scare the guy, like, drop the bikes. And the guy takes a right on Prince Street. And when he takes a right on Prince Street, he dropped the bike. He had a messenger bag. He pulls a machete out of his messenger bag and then starts chasing us with this fucking machete, dude. It was the craziest thing ever, dude. It was the craziest thing ever. But we ended up getting the bikes back.
Yeah.
We ended up getting the bikes back. So
that's fucking crazy. Machete?
Yeah. Machete. Like, I almost want to call Al and just be like, dude, do you remember that? I mean, I haven't thought about that in years.
Did he chase you for a while?
He chased us kind of like right back into the front of Supreme, and then everybody was out in front of Supreme, so he kind of just like,
didn't do shit.
Yeah, he just kind of took off.
Then went back and got the bikes.
Yeah, and I think also like, what are you gonna you're gonna slice and dice somebody on like in the middle of broad daylight on Lafayette?
No, dude, it's crazy, bro.
Yeah, so
I used to work on Prince Street at Nana Shoes back in the day. Across from Fat Farm.
Nana
it might have been before.
Oh, so that's like Prince, like just west of Broadway?
Yeah. Remember Fat Farm?
Yeah, of course.
It's crazy, man.
I do remember.
It's crazy. Like we were in the same areas, but I was like 10 years older than you, probably a couple. You know what I mean? It's interesting because I moved out of New York in 2001.
Did you used to go to Fat Beats?
Yeah, I've been to Fat Beats. Yeah.
So that's where we used to always go for vinyl and any mixtape. It would always hit Fat Beats first. You know?
Damn. You going to hip hop shows too? Because I know you said.
Yeah, I mean, I
and Limelight, they had shows there.
We would go to the spot that we would see most of our hip hop shows was on 20. God, I'm spacing the name of that place. Man. Tramps.
Yes.
Tramps was like
where we saw. Too. We played
Tramps is where we saw a bunch of shows. I mean, I saw J. Rue there. We saw I saw Wu-Tang there a number of times.
Yeah.
De La Soul.
Of course. You remember Wetlands?
Of course,
A
man.
lot of hip hop there too, man.
Of course. So there was a party on at the Wetlands on Monday nights. It was like a drum and bass party called Concrete Jungle. And like I would go there all the time on Monday nights.
Dude, there's so many great clubs in New York, man.
Yeah.
I saw hip hop. I saw third base at NYU once. Obviously, the Limelight, the Roxy.
That was the Wetlands was like kind of Rocksteady Cruise, like mainstay. That's where they were all. I would always love to just go there, and on Monday nights, like the whole entire team was there, and they would always just go off in the basement of that place. Like it was like a fucking circus. It was amazing. Those guys were so amazing to watch.
Were you into breakdancing or graffiti?
I was into graffiti. I never like went ham on graffiti, but I was definitely into graffiti. You
were tagging shit?
Tagging shit.
What was your name?
My tag was Sime, Sime.
Sick.
From like fifth grade. That's like kind of, I don't even know where Sime came from, but that's,
That's so cool though.
And there was a spot on York Avenue and 75th Street called Jan's Hobby Shop. And she sold weed. This crazy old white lady. She sold weed. The store was this little store, and you could buy like model planes and model cars there. So she sold weed there, but we would go there because she also sold these pea shooters. So we would get pea shooters there, and she also sold the mini spray paint. So like we would take our sleeves and we would put these mini cans in our sleeves and just have the cans sit, like popping out of our sleeves. And
wow.
And it was small enough that you can just have it and just be like, you'd run out of paint quick, but
Damn. So you're just out in the streets, man. Yeah,
it was just like, I think.
Well, were we getting arrested and shit? We'd be doing crazy shit?
I got arrested a number of times, but I never ever got into trouble. Like I've got a good story. So I was 15 years old on 10th Street between 2nd and 3rd Avenue.
Okay.
Really, it was actually one of the nicest blocks in the East Village, 10th between 2nd and 3rd, like crazy beautiful brownstones.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a weird block because it would like split in the middle. And I was with my boy Al, and we were drinking 40s, and we were pretty lit. And I had a backpack filled to the brim with 50 bags of weed, filled to the brim. And I had a scale in there, and I had like a bunch of just like empty baggies.
Damn.
And so I was pretty lit. And it's so funny talking about these stories, dude. I haven't reminisced like this in years.
Sick.
But so I said, we were sitting on a stoop, like just off of 3rd Ave. And I was like, yo, Al, give me a whoop. If the cops are coming, I got to go take a piss. So I crossed the street. I pulled up next to a tree. I had my backpack on, and I was pissing. And then all of a sudden, dude, I just see the 5-0 just like roll up. And I see them. I immediately just start walking down the block, right? Like probably my dick is still fucking hanging out of my pants. And I'm walking down the block pretending like I just didn't see them. And in those days, like if you piss outside, they're going to they could write you a ticket for public, urination.
Totally.
But typically what they would do is they would like fuck with you. You know what I mean? Like they make you like wipe it up or like do something stupid.
It's embarrassing, yeah.
And so I'm walking down towards 2nd Avenue, and I saw a van parked like 3 cars in front of me, like a big kind of like van. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get to that van. I'm going to drop my bag because they won't be able to see me as I'm passing the van. The van will block them from me because they're kind of slowly following me down the street.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to keep on walking, and I'm going to go cut around the block. And, if they stop me, they stop me. If they don't, I'll just cut back around the block and I'll grab my bag. Anyway, I drop my bag off. Like I take my bag off, and it was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. So it was like a little like, to like get it off my back. And I keep walking, and they actually kept on following me. And I was like, thank God. And then like probably like, I don't know, maybe 20 feet, 30 feet off of the corner, they stop the car and they go in reverse. And so I'm like, that's it, I'm out. And I just dip. And I run down to 1st Avenue, south to 8th Street, and I'm on 8th Street and 1st Ave, and I remember I got my fucking school books in that bag. My fucking name on them.
Oh my God, dude.
Yeah. So I'm like, and I'd already moved out of my parents' house at this point. So like the last thing I need is like them showing up to my parents' house to call the school, find out where I live, blah, blah, blah.
Holy shit.
And so I'm just like, fuck it, I got to go face the noise, And so I kind of walk back, and my bag's not there. And the cops aren't there. So I'm like, all right, fuck, man. I'm going to have to deal with this like at some point.
Bucket, you're tripping out, right?
I'm pretty shook, you know, because I'm like, they're gonna, you know, try to find me. The child services are involved, and my parents, you know, like I'm kind of on the run, you know, from that situation.
Or just take the weed and throw the bag away. Who knows?
So anyway, Al comes back over to me, and we're walking down towards First Avenue, and then cops pull up. Get up against the gate, you know, they threw us up against the gate, and they're like, you are fucked. You are fucked. And I'm like, oh my God. And he opens up the bag and he just pours the weed out onto the floor.
Holy shit.
And there was probably like 30, 50 bags in there, all broken up with a scale, baggies. Like I'm hemmed up. So
holy shit.
I come up with this kind of on the fly excuse, right? I'm 15, bro.
Yeah.
So I pull out my ID, my high school ID, and I'm like, look, man, I'm 15. I just got back from Dykeman. Me and my boy, we went, it was my, you know, we're celebrating my 15th birthday. We just got back from Dykeman and we bought all this weed up there. We just got back from Washington Heights, like, you know. And he was like, well, what's with the scale and the bags? I was like, well, we went up there. We wanted to make sure that like everything was kosher, you know, like I wanted to weigh it out just to make sure that like they weren't. And so the cop, like, they're like, fuck you. This is bullshit. You're lying. And I'm like, I'm telling you the truth, dude. God is my witness. Again, God shows up in my life, dude. The cop just like, whap, smacks me right across my face, puts the weed back in the bag, tells me to get the fuck out of there, obviously takes the weed, and that was that.
Holy shit, dude.
Like that would have
smacked you in the face.
Smacked me in the face. I've been beat up by, well, that wasn't really beat up, but I've been like, I got beat up once by cops, and that was from that. This is stupid thing that I did, but that one wasn't a beat up. But you know, give me a good whap across the face.
Took all the weed.
Yeah, took all the weed, and but that would have been a nice little juvie stint.
Crazy,
you know?
yeah.
The other time when the cops actually did beat me up was because, and I was younger. I was probably like 13 or 14, and I was walking on 2nd Avenue south from like 92nd Street or something, and there's a diner, I think on 90th or 89th and 2nd, and we're walking past this diner. It's like 11 o'clock at night, 24-hour diner, and I see this like kind of bum dude sleeping inside the diner at a table, and on the table is a fucking big bottle of champagne, like a big bottle of champagne, kind of in a bucket, you know, and this dude is passed out.
Oh shit.
And I look at my boy and I'm like, yo, I'm going in there, I'm grabbing that shit, I'm grabbing that fucking bottle of champagne. And so I walk into the diner, I kind of look around, I like walk over to the table, and I just grab the bottle of champagne and I walk out. And as I'm walking out, like, they're like, stop it!
Oh, somebody sees you, yeah.
Yeah, the people that work there. They're like, hey! So I just like dip out. And, you know, we run around the corner, whatever, and we're drinking the bottle of champagne. And then all of a sudden, cops pull up, you know, get the fuck over here! Get the fuck over here! And the cops are like, what is it? What? You just stole that bottle I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, this is mine. I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. And they're like, don't fucking lie. I'm like, I'm not lying. They're like, don't fucking lie. I'm not lying. And I was like denying to the fucking nth.
Yeah.
And then that's it. They just like whap, like threw me like 3 or 4 punches. I hit the floor, got a kick in the stomach, and they left.
Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
How old are you then?
Like 14, probably.
They took the alcohol?
No, they didn't take the alcohol. Left it.
That's fucking damn, dude.
But that was like New York City, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what, man? Like, I mean, it's just so funny. I've got away with a lot of shit, dude. I got away with a lot of shit. Later in my 20s, like, you know, when I got back from LA, like one of my main connects, and this is crazy, but this is one of my main connects. He was moving all sorts of shit, not just weed, like ecstasy and mushrooms, and
yeah,
never like coke or heroin, but like a lot of ecstasy, a lot of mushrooms, a lot of weed. and he did all of his business out of his apartment.
Okay.
And his apartment was on 20th Street between 1st and 2nd Avenue, literally directly across the street from the precinct. Directly across the street of the precinct. So I would go up in there,
dude,
and I would leave his apartment with like 2,000 hits of ecstasy in my bag.
Oh, damn, dude.
If I got caught with that, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
You know, and like I mean, I just got away with so much.
You were just fearless. You didn't care.
I think that I just sort of built up like I don't know. I mean, I would be so terrified to do that now, right? Like,
yeah.
like even talking
There's
about
so much
these
to
things,
lose right now. Yeah, dude.
talking about these things, like I can't believe that
that was you.
That I had that kind of that was me. You know?
Yeah.
That was
lifetimes ago, though.
Lifetimes ago.
I mean,
there was another situation where I can't, like, had this actually happened, you know, I would still be in jail today. I was at a sneaker store on Eldridge Street, and I'd been up all night. I was with this kid Ross, this RFC kid, and he and I would like run together a lot. And he was a pretty, you know, he was not a dude to fuck with. And we were in the sneaker store, and there was like kind of like a big Puerto Rican dude that was standing to my right, and I reached over to grab a pair of sneakers. And the dude like flipped on me. He's like, "What the fuck? You're putting your hand in front of me? You're putting your fucking hand in front of me?" And so the owner of the store was actually Stash. Do you know Stash?
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So he owned that store. So he kind of stepped in and was like, "Yo, chill, everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody chill." But this dude was like really, you know, like ready to go. And that store was like 2 blocks away from my apartment. Okay. And so I was completely gone. Like I was like ready to just do whatever this dude wanted to do. So I was like, fuck this. I went back to my apartment, and I came back out with a pair of brass knuckles that had a knife on it. And I'm walking over to the store, middle of the probably like 1:00 in the afternoon, out of my mind, with brass knuckles and a knife. And I walk back over to the store, and I'm looking for this guy. And in my head, like, I say that now, and I'm like, Michael, would you have actually done that? Like, would you have actually done that?
It's fucking crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. I'm just not that guy.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the drugs.
What stopped you that day, you think?
He wasn't there.
Okay. Damn.
He wasn't there. Thank God. That was God showing up again in my life.
Yeah.
He wasn't there. You know?
Was that Stash's store in Lafayette? He had a store there too for a while. Stash. He had his own store, I remember.
Yeah, but I think I'm almost positive it was Stash's store. I'm almost positive he had that sneaker store on Eldridge Street.
Oh, yeah, it's Eldridge Street. That's right.
Yeah.
Were you a big sneakerhead too?
I was. Yeah.
Was it Nikes?
Yeah, I was like a big Nike guy for most of it, you know. And then I kind of got for me
Air Maxes.
Oh yeah, well in the 90s it was all Air Max.
Hell
it was all Air Maxes.
90s and ones.
It was all
95s.
The 95s were like what I kind of like were like my first love.
Yeah.
And then Jordans. I wasn't really like the 90s weren't really my thing. I mean, I had a couple of 90s. The infrared 90s were like the only ones that I really liked a lot.
Classics.
Yeah, I was like a pretty. I mean, I was kind of into all of it. You know, I really got into the Jordan 4s. I had like multiple pairs of unworn Jordan 4s. The problem with Jordans, unfortunately, is like I still have. When I met my wife, I had, I don't know, probably like 80 pairs of sneakers.
Yeah.
And she came into, and I lived in this little, you know, my bedroom was tiny on 2nd Avenue and 5th Street. And so I had sneakers all underneath my bed and then just piled up on the wall. And my wife was like, "You're fucking crazy. This is insane. Like, you don't wear any of these sneakers." She didn't understand that.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you're a sneaker junkie, like, you know, that's just kind of what it is. And so slowly but surely, I was just like, all right, we moved to Brooklyn tonight to Havemeyer Street. And I was like bringing all over these sneakers. And she was like, "Dude, you don't even wear these sneakers anymore." And honestly, a lot of the Jordans, if you don't like, I still don't know what you have to do with Jordans to keep them crisp. They turn yellow on the side? They turn yellow and they deteriorate.
Yeah, I saw it the other day.
They like come apart. Literally, the soles just kind of like fall off.
I saw someone the other day actually about this. Yeah.
And so there is something that you can do to preserve them, but I don't know exactly what that is. And I don't really care to know anymore. But
yeah, you get kids and shit.
But anyway,
that's crazy. You lived on 5th and 2nd?
I lived on 5th and 2nd.
Me too. That's where I moved here from.
5th Street and 2nd Ave?
5th between 2nd and 1st.
Oh, so I lived right above Frank Restaurant. You know Frank Restaurant on 2nd Avenue between 5th and 6th?
Yeah, because there was a diner on the corner.
Yeah.
I lived behind in between the diner and the police station.
Oh, that's hilarious, dude.
I live in 303 East 5th. That's so crazy.
So I lived on.
You know a guy named Julian that worked at Frank's?
Do I know Julian?
What the fuck, bro?
Dude, Julian's like one of my greatest friends.
I just got goosebumps.
Julian Vasquez is like
that's my boy from Still Suit from the punk days.
Yeah, he's a Still Suit.
He texts me all the time about my podcast. He listens to it.
Dude, he's one of my greatest friends.
Oh my god.
Julian hired me. So Julian hired me at
this shit.
I got hired. So the way I was gonna
shout out to Julian, bro.
Yeah, shout out to Julian.
Fuck?
Julian's
did you
like
know Still Suit, his other band?
Yeah, of course, man. Of course I did. I love Julian. I love Julian.
He
was like one of the
skinhead.
best frontmans ever.
Yes.
He was a maniac. But I worked with Julian for years.
This is all coming together. This is so
I love
crazy.
Julian. And you know what else I was thinking that I was like yesterday? I was like, oh, I wonder who else Toby knows from my. So Gavin Van Vleck saved my life.
What, did he train you?
Yes, Gavin was one of the first guys when I got sober.
Love you, Gavin. This is crazy, Gavin.
Gav was one of the first guys that came into my life as like this dude that took me under his wing and helped me get sober.
Bro, dude.
Muay Thai, the whole thing.
Badass fucking human, man.
Yeah,
and guitar player and fucking musician.
Yeah.
Burn, Orange 9.
Yeah. So I know all of those guys.
So crazy, dude. What was that crazy gym? Gladiator or something? Lower East Side? I think he used to train there too.
So the gym that we went to was 5 Points. That's where.
Oh yeah.
That's where my whole entire resurrection journey began with Gavin and Marcus.
Marcus from the Juice Press.
Yes.
Spot.
Yes. So Marcus was my Marcus saved Marcus and Gavin both.
So this is, hey, I gotta stop for a second because the Frank's restaurant I heard you talking about Rich Rolls is the restaurant by my fucking house with Julian, and that boss sent you to go meet up with fucking homie from the Juice Press, which was down the street. I used to always go there. Crazy. Okay, such a small world, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you and Julian like the same age? Yeah.
No, Julian's I think he's like 3 or 4 years older than me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So then you met Gavin.
I met Gavin through the sober community immediately. Though he was like one of the first guys I met because Marcus was the first guy I met, and Marcus brought me down to the Muay Thai gym.
Yes,
and Gavin was at the Muay Thai gym as a coach there.
Dude, so who was your boss at Frank's?
Frank.
Okay,
Frank Provenzano.
Oh yeah.
So Frank was also kind of like Julian's sort of surrogate, like father. Yeah. Like Frank was like Frank hired a lot of us kind of crazy kids.
How many years was Julian there for?
A long time. I think he was there. He wasn't there as long as I was, but he was there long. Actually, he was probably there as long as I was because he was there a few years before me.
Yeah.
I think he got hired there in like 98 when they first opened, and I got hired there in 2001.
Was he a chef too?
Nah, he was just a front of house guy.
Yeah.
But he's great. He's a great cook.
Does he have kids now too and stuff?
Oh yeah, he's got 3 kids.
And he lives in New York still?
Yeah, he lives in New York, and I think he's in the union now. I think he finally was just like, fuck the restaurant business.
What a small fucking world, dude. It's so crazy. So when you talk about you're going to wake up, you're going to fucking, thank God, you're going to, every morning, all that stuff I listen to Rich Roll every morning. Like tomorrow morning you wake up, you're going to do this, then you go to this meeting, and then you go to Muay Thai. And that was Gavin was at the gym when you went there. Fuck,
yeah, so I had dinner with Gavin I don't know, a month ago.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah. Gav's like a really, really, really old, good friend of mine, man.
I know Gavin since the 80s, man.
It's maniac.
He's a fucking maniac. He used to rock chain belts and shit. He was like a scary, gnarly dude, man. With his dogs and his fucking...
Yeah. He
had that lady for a very long time, too. I think she still trains with him and stuff. Maybe she's still in the mix.
Yeah. They were married, got divorced, got remarried,
So you met Gavin and Julian. That's so cool, man. What a crazy world.
Honestly, I don't know if Julian does listen to this podcast.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
So Julian, I love you like a brother, dude. I really do. I mean, Julian hired me at Frank.
Okay.
I showed up on my skateboard and for my job interview with him. I literally pull up on my skateboard and he's like, "Oh, you skate?" And I was like, "Yeah, I skate." And
dude,
he just gave me a shot there. I worked there for 8 years. But that job saved my life,
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
I don't think you would have been hired if you were on rollerblades, though.
Probably not. Julian would have been like, chill.
What is that shit?
Yeah, chill.
So how many years you at Frank's for?
8, a little over 8.
Damn. Okay. So you're partying the whole time there towards the end when
So I partied there. I got hired at 20. I got sober at 23.
Okay.
And then I worked there for 5 more years sober.
Okay. Great. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you had never really done Muay Thai, none of that shit.
No, man. But that was like these guys that I was introduced to. Like first it was Marcus.
Yeah.
And this is way before Juice Press. And Marcus like really did like kind of wing me, He really just sort of gave me a plan, and Gavin was there at the gym. And so if Marcus wasn't at the gym, Gavin was at the gym. So Gavin would, really like work with me, and he knew that I was sober, but he saw that I was kind of like gravitating hard to it. And I think Gavin was only sober a year or 2 at that point.
Okay.
But Gav was like a super big inspiration for me because he was such a beast at Muay Thai. I mean, he was a crazy motherfucker.
Yeah.
Always a big dude, but just lightning fast and tough as hell, right? And so for me,
also a nice, sweet human too.
Very, very good person.
Yeah.
When I was getting sober, like when I made the decision to get sober, I just didn't think that I was gonna find like people that I wanted to hang with, because I was like, oh man, sober people, like boring. It's just like I'm gonna be hanging out in fucking libraries.
And you see these tattooed maniacs, you're like, fuck.
Yeah, exactly. So like I met these guys right away, and I was like, oh, I can get down with this. Like I could look up to these guys, and Gavin really allowed me to do that. He really like older brothered me, and so did Marcus.
Yeah. Did you quit everything cold turkey just like that?
Like that.
Like
I mean, I had about
Frank?
Probably about a week of kicking the drugs was pretty rough for me.
Yeah.
And then that whole year, like my body changed relatively quickly because I was so hooked on the Muay Thai.
Yeah.
But like, I had shit coming out of my eye, all orifices. I broke out crazy acne all over my face. And, I just like, my body was just detoxing, man. I had years of just absolute abuse,
Probably not even eating good or nothing like that. Just fucking.
Like if I wasn't eating,
Damn.
Like I think like
how many pounds did you weigh at that point? Were you super skinny?
I don't even know. I mean, I wasn't
emaciated,
bone skinny. I was just like there.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I was just there. Like there was nothing special about me at all.
Yeah.
I was just like at the very end. I would love to hear like. I've never actually asked Gavin what it was like when he first met me, or Marcus, but I would love to hear that from those guys.
I hear that too.
Like I remember.
Was Julian straight edge?
Yeah, Julian straight edge.
Okay, yeah.
And there was one. So
did you know what straight edge was? Nothing like that until you met those guys.
I mean, I knew of straight edge because I knew straight edge kids.
Yeah.
But it wasn't considered sober, right? It was like if you were in the hardcore scene and you had 3 X's on your arm, like you just knew that you were a complete psychopath because you were in it and you were not getting fucked up.
3 X's.
Yeah. Right. Like you just good. That's just what you knew. If you saw those X's, you were like, all right, that dude is loco, right?
Yeah.
Because he's getting into all sorts of shit, but he's just completely sober.
Facing, head on.
So I didn't, but yeah, I just, I got so lucky, man. And my life today is just
right time, right people, right everything.
Right time, like the stars aligned for me, It really did. Like I think if I would have tried to make a decision earlier, I probably wouldn't have had the success. If I pushed it any further, chances are I'd be dead. Like really, I do think that like God.
A lot of close calls.
Yeah, God showed up. I mean, I OD'd 2 weeks before I got sober.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, on heroin, right?
On heroin, yeah.
Fuck, man. You shooting it?
No, thank God.
You never shot it?
No. Never shot it.
I used to bang. Or something?
I would snort it, smoke it. I mean, I was using. There was a period of time where I was sort of skin popping ketamine.
Fuck, I don't know what that means. That's crazy.
You just kind of like take a syringe into your muscle,
Fuck.
But yeah, I never mainlined. Thank God, because that wouldn't have gone well for me. I would have liked it way too much, I think, because I loved heroin,
But you were maintaining work too at the same time, right?
I mean, I
until
was until, you gotta understand too, like all this shit happened before I was 23.
It's crazy, dude. It's so many lives, dude.
All my friends that like I ran with in those days, for the most part, are either sober or dead.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them died. A
Damn,
lot, like,
man.
you know, every 6. It's so funny. There's a girl, this girl from those days, who I don't really stay in touch with, but anytime her number shows up in my phone, either a phone call or a text message,
You know what it is.
it's just to tell me that someone's dead.
Fuck. Dude.
Yeah.
Damn.
She only reaches out to me if one of the, crew members have passed.
It's hard. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. So there's only a couple friends left then. Yeah.
I mean, the truth is that like they're, the sober ones I'm connected with.
That's cool.
I mean, there's very few that are still out there in the gray zone, like very few. I can't really think. Like this one kid, Guess. Did you know Guess?
Mm-mm.
So this one kid, Guess, who was really a running buddy of mine. The rest of our crew is dead. Actually, like the whole rest of that team, well, Rast is still around, but he's battling hard, struggling. He's like a in and out of sobriety guy. But Guess somehow, some way, I don't know what his. He's an artist. He bombs hard too.
Still okay, yeah.
He still bombs hard, but I don't know if he was able to just like quit using drugs, because he and I were like hard runners together. But I know that he's not. I don't think he's sober, but I think that he's been able to figure it out somehow. Where he's not doing it anymore, or he's not doing it to the severity that we were, because there's no doubt he'd be dead.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of shit we were doing.
So then you started running too, doing Muay Thai. You started getting into running.
So I got sober, and
running?
these dudes they just basically were like, I was ready. I knew I was ready. I just like had to stop, and I found 2 guys that like I wanted to hang out with, that I looked up to very quickly, and they saw that and like gave me their all. They really did. They spent a lot of time with me. Man. Took me in,
nice.
Knew that I had a lot of anger and a lot of violent tendencies before I got sober. I mean, I was like really, my drinking and using drugs, pushed me to a point where I could be sitting down with you and we would just be, talking normally. And you said something that I didn't like, or somebody like said something that I didn't like in the vicinity, and I was just known to pop off. And nobody wanted to hang out with me anymore, because
time bomb.
Yeah, I was just getting into fights all the time, and all the time. I mean, there was one night that I remember, I don't know how I remember this, but like I was in pianos, and there was like some kid in an after hours that I think tried to steal my wallet, and so I locked the apartment that we were in. This like weird after hours apartment. I locked the apartment, and I pulled out a knife, and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna stab everybody in here until I find out who stole my wallet."
Damn.
And this kid showed up and gave me, like, he said, "Oh, I found your wallet."
Yeah, he found. Yeah.
And so I saw that kid at pianos like a couple weeks later, and I raised hell. I raised hell, and it was really bad. And
that's your strike in '86 from the clubs.
Yeah, that's what it was just like I was a loose cannon. I was like not the guy that I can't even imagine being that person. I can't.
Yeah,
there's not a angry bone. There's not a violent bone. There's no, like, I have no recollection of what those emotions could be like to drive me to want to do some of the things.
It's crazy. Totally different person.
Yeah, I mean, alcohol and drugs are a real thing.
Yeah, man.
They're a real thing, and they change your brain.
Yeah.
They really change your brain.
Chris, now you're 20 years sober.
20 years sober.
It's fucking nuts.
Different life.
And you were partying all the way up into your 20s, and it's like a whole different chapter of your life now. You know what I mean? Like, it's turned everything around.
Yeah, I get sober. I get completely, winged by these dudes who teach me about
getting great shape, getting stronger, all this, learning all this stuff.
Quickly got into good shape. Started eating really healthy. Met my wife 8 months into sobriety. She never saw me have a drink. She was super supportive of me, like in my journey. She knew that I was super vulnerable. She knew that I was super emotional because of what I was going through. And she stuck by me. And, I married her, and she's my wife today. And we're together. April will be 20 years that we're together. And I love her more than anything on the planet.
It's funny you were telling me, like, how you're so focused now, and like, how like she'll like roll her eyes at different ideas that you have, you know what I mean? Because you're like always like nonstop going.
Yeah, she knows that I'm just, she also knows that like anything I say I'm gonna do, I'm actually gonna do.
Yeah, and we put it out there, actually do it. Just go for it 100%.
Yeah, and so she just, she does find it comedic. I'm sure that she would probably appreciate like some like real stability, but she also knows that like I've done well financially for us, so she kind of now is like, all right, like if he's gonna do it, I mean, chances are he's gonna do it all right.
So you're working at Frank's, now you're sober, and then like you start focusing on your health and your strength and
fitness
diet,
changed my life.
everything.
Fitness and
Yeah.
nutrition changed my whole life. Obviously, being sober was the catalyst to all of that. So the sober community is really the foundation of it. But fitness and nutrition were a big part of my transition. And then ultimately mindfulness, Marcus really, really helped me like understand meditation and prayer were like a part of my life that I needed to include if I wanted to sort of go beyond, the material. Right.
Yeah.
And so I had started introducing that. And then, my wife was like a gift from God. And so all these good things started happening for me. And I was committed to staying sober. I was committed to fitness. I was committed to eating well. I was committed to my woman. And so it gave me the courage to say, all right, I'm going to go back to school. And
Awesome,
I went to school. I went to culinary school. And then while I was in culinary school, I loved it. I loved it so much. I was doing culinary school from 7 o'clock in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon, straight to the restaurant, working till 2 o'clock in the morning, and just like grinding hard.
Dude.
And then when I was at culinary school, they launched a program towards the end of my chef's culinary degree with Cornell, where Cornell came in. They brought a bunch of professors from Cornell, the hospitality school there, and they collaborated on a restaurant management program. It was like a truncated associate's degree. And so I didn't have a lot of dough then. I stopped selling drugs. I was just bartending, and
legit, yeah.
And so it was a 40, I think, maybe, I don't know, it was a 40 grand or 30 grand, but they were offering one scholarship for this program, one scholarship, full boat. And the process of the scholarship was you had to fully bake a restaurant concept from, like, you had to build a business plan, and you had to submit the idea, kind of fully build out this business plan and then submit it. And so I came up with a restaurant called Homemade at the time. And I remember it like so well. Basically the idea was there was going to be a whole bunch of different kind of burgers. Yeah. And there was a long list of artisanal cheeses. So you can walk into the restaurant and you can be like, I want a beef burger, a bison burger, a turkey burger, a veggie burger, a lamb burger, like 5 to 7 different types of burgers, proteins, and then like 10 to 15 really, really amazing sort of unique artisanal cheeses. And you can make cheeseburgers with like super dope cheeses and these burgers, and then a whole bunch of sides.
It's cool.
And no one had ever done that, and they still haven't done that. I think it's such a good idea. So anybody listening, you want to fucking do that, call it Homemade, give me 5%, I'm in.
Somebody should do it though. It's a great idea, yeah.
But I submitted that, and I won. I won the scholarship.
Okay.
So I did. Wow, so I did the scholarship, and I graduated that. It's gonna be like probably 2.5, 3 years to get it all done. And then when I was done with that, I had I was sober now a few years.
Yeah.
I was fit as fuck. I knew that I had the ability to commit to anything, because I was like, the longer you commit to something, the more confidence you have in the ability to commit to something.
Absolutely.
Right? Like knock on wood, like I'd never say never, but like, because I've committed to sobriety for so long, like the thought of drinking or using drugs never crosses my mind, because I just know it's the absolute, it's a non-negotiable. Like you would literally have to put a bullet in my head to like have me do that. I'm just, I never would ever want to go back to that place ever. And anybody who's listening who's in that place, or who's struggling, or who's bouncing back and forth, like, I'm just here to tell you that, like, you've now heard my story. There's a real solution, and you don't have to drink and use drugs. Like, you just don't. You can be sober, and you can live a dope life, and you can create way beyond anything you've ever thought. So I'm living proof of it.
For sure.
And so I graduated from that, and I wrote a business plan very similar to the homemade plan, but I made it meatballs, and
The Meatball Shop.
the Meatball Shop. Like you can bunch of different kinds of meatballs, bunch of different sides. You can have meatballs and spaghetti. You can have meatballs alone with sauce, bunch of different sauces, and you can have sliders. You can have a meatball hero. You can have we had 14 different sides. We had 7 veggie sides, and then 7 sides that we called stick to your bones. So that was the starchy side. So it was like mashed potatoes, rigatoni, spaghetti, polenta, risotto, and you can just choose. You just choose your own adventure. Be like, I want the beef meatballs with the pesto sauce with a side of broccoli over, pesto.
It's crazy,
And all the menus, there were dry erase menus. So you get a dry erase marker, you sort of just check off what you want. The server comes, grabs your menus, reads it back to you, and then puts your order in.
Sick.
And it was dope, dude. And we crushed it. We really did,
It's still around?
It's still around. Wow,
that's amazing. How many years?
So 2024 was 14 years.
Incredible, man.
Man.
Where is that?
53rd and 9th.
Okay.
So the pandemic, before the pandemic, there was 5 of them.
Oh shit.
And then now there's only 1 left. The pandemic wiped out Meatball Shop.
Wow, man.
But so I wrote this plan and I put it in front of all the regulars at Frank Restaurant. There's a lot of regulars that would go there. And these guys watched me from a maniac kid graduate to a sober dude, graduate to meeting my girlfriend, getting married, going to school. All these regulars literally watched this crazy arc in my life.
Incredible, man.
And they would all tell me how proud of me they were, and everybody was just like, "Man, you're gonna do a lot," And so finally, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna ask these guys." Put the business plan in front of like 25 people, and 14 of them wrote me a $25,000 check each.
Holy shit!
And that's how we funded the Meatball Shop.
What? From people that were going there, just people
going to Frank.
Wow,
going
man.
to Frank. Yeah.
That's incredible. They believed in you 100%. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That must have felt really nice, man.
Oh, dude, it was crazy.
Your whole life, dude. It's fucking crazy, man.
Yeah, it was nuts. So
that is so crazy.
We opened up the Meatball Shop on Stanton between Orchard and Allen, and
good area. Yeah.
Little spot. And tiny little restaurant, 1,000 square feet all in, 500 square feet in the kitchen, 500 square feet in the front of the house, 38 seats, including a 12-seat bar. So it was like, whatever, it was 25 seats on the floor and then 12 seats at the bar. And we thought that we were going to do like $1 million in our first year, which we thought was awesome. And we opened up the restaurant and it just went off, bro. It went off.
Holy
We did $4 million in our first year.
Holy shit.
We paid our investors back in 6 months, and we were cooking meatballs.
Oh my God.
We were on Jay
man.
Leno, Jimmy Fallon, Chelsea Handler, Good Morning America, The Today Show, every single local news show.
Dude, this is crazy.
They made a TV show about us, on CNBC. I mean, it was totally out of control. And
that's incredible, man.
Yeah.
All your vision, man. That's crazy.
And then this one investor that we had was like, he was like, "Hey guys, like this is a special thing." He's like, "Let's open up 5 more of these. Like, don't worry about money. Like, I've got you. Like, I'm committing to 5 of these restaurants. So go find the stores. I'll fund it. Let's go." And so Daniel and I kind of looked at each other and we were like, "Oh my God, this is just totally nuts," And we did, man. We opened up 6 restaurants. We opened up 5 more by 2014.
And they did good leading up to the pandemic. They all started.
Well, so I'll tell you the story. So like we opened up. How are we cool to just go on this thing? Or are you gonna wrap this thing up?
Nah,
Okay,
chilling, bro.
Okay,
whatever you want, man.
So
still have to go to Seamore's too. You got Seamore.
Yeah. So we built 6 restaurants between 2010 and 2014. Daniel and I were struggling a little bit as partners, and it was tough because we're childhood best friends. He got me my first job in a restaurant. He's the best chef I know. He's truly the best chef I know. And I love the dude a lot. Like I'm staying with him right now. He was awesome. My best friend. But when it came down to business, when real money got involved, it was tough for the two of us. We knew that we wanted to leave New York City because we felt like the city was saturated. Some of the restaurants were kind of cannibalizing. Every time we opened up a restaurant, like we saw one restaurant was sort of dip in sales, even though we had more. It was like, it's tough to balance that, right? Because if you have a dip in sales, it doesn't mean that the staff shrinks. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like the staff is the same, the sales are just lower. So it's hard to do that.
Restaurants are hard, man.
Really hard. So we knew that we had to leave New York. And because the media was like, I mean, dude, I'm telling you, we were in the media like insane.
It's
you know,
crazy.
like truly nuts. Like every week we were doing some kind of big media piece. Wall Street Journal, Esquire, GQ Mag.
That's incredible, man.
And
there's a lot of pressure involved because of that stuff too, or no?
That for me, that wasn't pressure. For me, that was like my sweet spot. Like I think that also was what got in between Daniel and I, because I like the cameras turned on and I'm like, wow, let's go, motherfucker. Like I'm in. I am not uncomfortable. Live TV, whatever. Like I'm giving it to you. Like if my publicist was like, hey, you got to hit all these points, you know, I'm like in my head, I like seamlessly dropped these things in, and I felt like, holy shit, like I'm good at this. Yeah.
You're thriving. Yeah.
And so you know, but Daniel and I were bumping heads for a number of reasons, and I just knew that we were so strong in media. So like when we were thinking about where to go next, I'm like, dude, where do we go next? Like it's not even a conversation. We're going to LA. That's where the media is, man. Damn. We're gonna open up in LA and we're gonna get put on the billboards just like we did in New York City. Like it's like the easiest, most common sense thing to do. Like we know that the PR and the media
it's working
is what is crushing for us. Yep. So let's let New York simmer, right? Like let's if we open up in LA, legit, like we will have billboards in LA, and it'll just fuel New York, right? Because now LA, New York is such a, you know, like same people. Yeah. They're always coming here. So we open up in LA, we introduce it to the LA market. They're just going to flow over to the New York market when they drop in, new customer, you know, the whole thing. Yeah. And he was like, we can't go to LA, dude. It's like, how are we going to operate restaurants in New York and restaurants in LA? Now, operationally, he's got a great point. But in my mind, as like a fucking visionary, like I don't give a fuck kind of like we're going to go do it, we'll just figure it out kind of guy. I'm like, we'll just figure it out. Like we'll hire a team in LA. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we'll plan to open up 3 restaurants in LA, and we'll hire a team to run those restaurants. Yeah. And we couldn't figure it out. He wanted to open up in Jersey or Long Island, and I was just like, man, we're like the hottest restaurant. Like you go to Jersey and Long Island to die from New York City. Like that's like restaurant graveyard. You know? Yeah. And so we just bumped heads, and eventually I was just like, fuck it, man. Like this is too hard. Like to not the restaurant or the business, but like the relationship. I was like, I love this dude a lot, but there's a part of me that really, really like does not like him. And and I would rather see if I have what it takes to open up another restaurant alone than continue to battle, because it was a battle. Yeah. And so I sold a bunch of my equity to them. I kept in 10%, but I sold 25% of the business to them. And, you know, I was 31 and I started that business with 20 G's and I took out 7 figures. Damn. And I never knew anybody in my life that had money like that. Like that's crazy. No family member, no friend, just I was 31 years old and I like just hit an M. And I was like, wow, okay, like my life is about, you know.
You're sober, you got your lady, you're like everything.
Sober, it's just, you know, we were on the, you know, we were on the way to having a kid, and so with that dough, I created this idea for a seafood restaurant. Called Seamore's, which is basically a sustainable seafood restaurant where I was going to work with only local, underutilized, underloved species of fish from New York that kind of swam from like kind of like Maine to Maryland was like the area that I was going to focus on. And I built this plan, right? It was like I was kind of doing the same thing with meatballs that I did for seafood, and but it was like these like species of fish that people didn't know about, but they were like the freshest, the most delicious because they were like caught like 2 days ago, you know. Whereas most of the fish that we get is like out of the water for like a month, you know. Can I pause for 2 seconds to piss?
Yeah. This is sick. We're back in the pod. Michael, they take a piss. All right. He's drinking crazy water over here and all kinds of special caffeinated drinks with no caffeine. What is it called? Update?
Update. Oh, she's the bomb. Big up to Update. Everybody go check them out.
So far, the listeners, this is a crazy fucking story, though. Like, this is, I don't know, it's so amazing. Just like how you turn your shit around like at 360 degrees.
Just grab this real quick.
You know what I mean? It's fucking, I eat this guy's overnight oats every day, ladies and gentlemen. All my friends obsessed with it. So sick for touring. You see me posting about it all the time. It's fucking, we're going to get into that soon. I just brought it to my place, Green Table. I brought my packet in my pocket. Really? And I get the oven, I pour it inside to get my protein. Oh, you want, what is that, gum?
No.
Oh, you're on that
Zen.
shit. You're on that. You're on that Josh Brolin shit, bro.
It's
We're talking
bad,
about the podcast. Josh is on it too.
So bad.
Yeah, on the podcast. Yeah,
I love it, but
I want to blow up
bad.
anybody's spot about this shit.
So
you got the Seamores.
Yeah. So real kind of backstory on Seamores. So something that we didn't talk about, but when I was a little kid, I ended up in the hands of a pedophile, and you know it. And I want to preface it by saying, you know, this guy was like a father to me. He was my sports coach.
It's in my notes, but I kind of skipped it. I don't know how deep you wanted to go.
Yeah, he was my sports coach,
Fuck,
and he was like,
shit.
you know, he was the after school program guy.
Bruh.
And I was in all the after school programs, of course, because my mom was working, my dad was out to lunch, you know.
You're trying to stay away from the house too, yeah.
And so this guy was like the best, dude. Like I loved him. He took us out to, you know, football games, and on Sundays, most weekends, he would take me and a handful of kids out to the party boats in Freeport, Captree, Long Island to go fishing. And so I loved fishing, and I loved fishing. I loved going out on those boats. But unfortunately, you know, this dude was a pedophile, and he molested me and a bunch of other kids.
Never got caught, nothing?
He did.
Yes.
Yeah, he got caught. He got caught with child pornography, and
he went to jail?
Yeah.
Good, dude.
Yeah, I think he did a short period in jail, and then I think he got put into a mental institution.
You think he's still alive?
I think he's dead. I'm almost positive he's dead.
Good.
But you know, I didn't really understand any of that until I was like 16, when I was like, you know, when I was like, wait a second, like that shit went down, like this dude.
Because you block shit out too, man, obviously.
Block it out. And, you know, unless I've completely sort of dissociated from it, like what I do remember was never like super gnarly. It wasn't like, you know, he wasn't raping me. He wasn't like making me like, you know, suck his dick or anything like that. But there was definitely, you know, real molestation, touching, rubbing down, bathtub, you know. But I'm a little kid. Like we come home from a fishing trip, or we come home from a sports day, and he like has me go into the bathtub and like put shampoo on the top of my head, and it's just like rubbing my body down in the shower, you know. Just gnarly shit, you know. But
fuck, man,
it fucked me up for sure. It really did. And you know, I probably still have some residual shit, but I've made peace with it. Anyway, parents out there, I'll just tell you one thing, like times are different, but you know, any coach, Boy Scout, you know, leader, Cub Scout leader, any volunteer child program, just like, I'm not saying that you've got to be paranoid. I'm just saying, do your fucking research, because 82,000 men have come forward about being molested in the Boy Scouts of America. 82,000.
Wow, man.
82,000.
Holy fuck.
So I'm just saying, it's a real
That's
thing,
crazy,
right? It's a real
man.
thing. Like 1 in 4 men are molested. 1 in 4.
Fuck.
So anyway, so this dude took us fishing, and the hardest part for me too is that like I really remember loving him. Like I felt like this dude was my dad.
Damn.
Because he was so good. He was grooming me, but he was so nice and was so
getting
generous.
Attention. Yeah, you're getting attention. Yeah.
So fishing became a really big part of like my like I have passion for fishing. And so when I was thinking about the seafood restaurant, I was like, you know, it's so interesting. Like I grew up fishing all the time, and I would catch all these fish that swam local to New York, like bluefish and blackfish and tautog and porgies and sea robin and fluke and flounder and tilefish if we were lucky, and you know, all these fucking fish that no one ever has heard of, and you never see them on menus in New York, never see them on menus anywhere, because 90% of the fish that we catch in the United States people don't want. They send them to the UK and China. 90% of the fish that we actually eat here in the United States, which happens to be tuna, salmon, halibut, cod, lobster, crab legs, come from overseas. It's bizarre how the system works.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's bizarre how the system works. So, we, I mean, even crazier, like cod was a real fish here on the East Coast. Not as much on the West Coast, but like cod, like Atlantic cod is like a real thing. Okay. And we overfished cod to the point of extinction. Like literally, I mean, they're still around, but like they're basically like they're not a real thing.
It's crazy, man.
And fish, like fish sticks, like all these, like you'd see like frozen fish sticks.
Yeah.
We would catch cod here. We would send it to China to get processed, and then they would send it back to us. That's how fucked up the system is.
Crazy, dude.
Yeah. So anyway, I was like,
gross.
I'm gonna put a highlight on the fish that I grew up catching, which all happened to be sustainable, abundant, and I was like, I'm gonna save the ocean kind of vibe.
Okay.
And people thought I was crazy because they were like, nobody is buying fish that they have never heard of. Like, how do you educate people in a short period of time about the species of fish that you've got up on the board that no one has ever had or experienced, right? And I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna fucking do it. I have momentum from the Meatball Shop. I understand how to connect with human beings, and I'm gonna build a sick team of front of house staff members and back of house chefs and cooks that are gonna love cooking this shit. And I did it, dude. And I came up with the idea of Seamore's, and I launched it on Broome and Mulberry Street, and we smashed, dude. And I had no partners. I did it solo.
Wow.
And we really opened up a sick restaurant. New York Magazine, #1 restaurant in New York for 9 months straight, which was fucking hard to do.
What year was this you opened?
2015.
Wow.
So it took me a year, a little less than a year, but I basically took the money that I made at Meatball, and I just fucking parlayed it into Seamore's, and then I ended up raising money at Seamore's to sort of take back some of the cash that I invested into it.
Yeah.
And we crushed it. And then one of my mentors fell in love with the brand. This dude was a restaurant legend, opened up like thousands of restaurants basically, and he came in and was like, "Yo, man, I love the brand. I know this brand has got super long legs. Like, I want to leave my like super high paying executive job at LPQ and join you at Seamore's as your partner." And I was like, "Thank you from the bottom of my heart, but can't do that." Like, I just got out of a really hard partnership.
Yeah. Smart.
You're 15 years older than me. You've got years of experience on me. There's no way you can work for me. And the only way that this would work for me is if I'm the final say at the business. I can't put you in that position or me in that position.
Yeah.
And so he was like, I understand. But like, he was kind of relentless, and he was like, dude, like every couple months he'd be like, "Oh man, I'm ready to do it." Like,
damn.
And so about a year in, he was like, "Look, you're killing it, and I know that you can use my help. I've got like a pile of money." He came with like $6.5 million and was like, "Let's go open up 6 restaurants together, 5-6 restaurants together." Fuck. And at that point I was like, wow, how do I say no to that, man? Like, that's a real opportunity.
It's crazy. Yeah.
So I said, "Okay, man, but here's how it's going to go. Like, we're going to do this. We'll open up 5 restaurants together. I know that I'm not going to want to be the guy that goes from 5 restaurants to 50.
Yeah.
So you come in, you'll be the CEO of the company. I'll be the president of the company, and we'll open up 5 restaurants. And then once we're at that place and we're successful, like, you'll buy me out so that I can go create another brand." And we did that, man. We did it. We opened up 5 more restaurants. 2019 came, 5 years in basically. And,
How'd they go?
they killed it.
And they're still going now, right? Yeah.
Killing it.
Wow.
There's 7 Seamores now, and one's in Connecticut, one's in Darien, Connecticut, one's in Arlington, Virginia, just outside of DC, and there's 4 in the city, and they're opening up more. I mean, it's going good.
That's amazing, man.
Pandemic took out 3 of them.
Yep. Took out 3 of them.
Took out 3.
Fuck.
So I sold a bunch of equity at Seamore's, and I did the same thing that I do at Meatball Shop. So now I have a system, right? Like, I'm like, all right, I know that I'm really good at developing brands and building visions for brands, and making them like, not just a restaurant, but a whole culture and a vibe and a lifestyle.
Totally.
And I can build them and sell them for, a good amount of money. Right.
Absolutely.
And if I do that 5 or 6 times throughout the course of my career, like, I'm going to be great. Everything's going to be great. I'm going to be doing what I love. And so I did that. November 2019, sold a bunch of equity, and I had this whole plan for Kreatures of Habit, which is now my business in a very different industry. But the idea for Kreatures of Habit was, I knew that I I knew that scaling restaurants was not like not my strong suit, because it's a lot of project management and I'm not good at that. Also, it requires a lot of financial management and I'm terrible at that. In terms of just like the P&Ls and building models, and it's just not what I do well. But I knew that I am very strong dreamer and visionary, very strong in being able to bring that vision to actual life. Very strong at surrounding myself with people that are excited about that vision. Design is a strong suit of mine, and then also obviously human, engagement, human connection.
Absolutely.
That's like what I do well. Business development, relationship development. So I came up with this idea for Kreatures of Habit because I was like, wellness saves my life every single day. It is what I love. I want to feel good about I want to feel like I want to be able to share with as many people as possible this idea that like what you put into your body and how you move your body will determine how you live and how you feel and how you perform and how you
100%.
How you look.
Yeah.
And that's my story.
And how you avoid going to the doctor.
Yeah. Yeah. So like what you put into your body, how you move your body, right? It can go both ways, right? You can be, on your couch until the minute you got to go to work, get in your car, drive to work, walk to your desk, sit at your desk all day, get up to take a piss, get back to your desk, sit at your desk, get back to your car, get in your car, drive home, sit on your couch. Like you can have that life, which a lot of people have, right?
They do.
And you don't cook your own food most of the time, so you end up eating out everywhere, and it's typically not great food, and it's typically filled with all sorts of garbage. And so I wanted to create a restaurant that was really a wellness focused restaurant, but with a vibe. And every healthy restaurant, whether you're in New York or in LA, like a healthy kind of, whether it's a plant-based restaurant or just like a health inspired restaurant, it looks like a healthy restaurant and it smells like a healthy restaurant. It's not like a vibe necessarily.
It's true. It's a good point.
What I'm saying? It's not like, we're going to the spot. Yeah. It's like you're going to the spot because it's got the food that you want if you're like specifically in the world of plant-based.
Yeah.
But it's not
Candle
like...
was nice though.
Candle?
Yeah, a nice vibe.
Yeah, it had a little bit of a vibe.
But out here we got Crossroads. We have some more upscale ones. There's that Park Avenue one in New York now or something. What's it called? The one on Fifth Avenue. They went all vegan. Remember that restaurant?
The only one that actually kind of did something interesting like this was Food and Wine, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they like built a restaurant. I mean,
true.
You saw the documentary on that shit. That was wild. That was wild. But like they had a vibe, right? Like it was like you can go there on a date and feel like you're in a spot. Like you can go, you can go with your friends. You guys like I wanted to create a restaurant that was not just plant-based, but that was like just a dope spot with really delicious food that happened to be healthy, that didn't use like extra butter to make things taste good, extra oils to make things taste good. Yeah. It was just like what you need, let the ingredients express themselves, and it was called Kreatures of Habit. And the idea was I found this amazing restaurant in Brooklyn, single structure, warehouse vibe, 8 skylights, like 5,000 square feet. It was amazing.
That's sick. So
dope. And I was negotiating the lease, and so, but the idea was not just to have the restaurant. The idea was to use the restaurant as an incubator and a test lab for products. Gotcha. So the restaurant was going to be my home base. I wanted one restaurant that I would be at all the time, and I'd have my office there. Yeah. And then in the kitchen, we would make dope products that we would bottle, and then we'd put in a little retail area in the restaurant, and we'd see what the guests were taking home with them. Like what on the way out, like maybe they'd be like, oh, I love that sauce. Let me grab that sauce to go. And oh, I loved that, that overnight oats. Like let me just they've got a container. Let me grab a few of these for the next few days. Like things like that. I was like, I wanted to really have like in real time use cases that I can invest money into and then sell in consumer goods, which is the business I'm in now. Anyway, 3 months later, March 2020, boom, we get hit. Oh, yeah, right? Pandemic shows up. And I call my investors a couple weeks into the pandemic, and I'm like, all right, you know what this call's about. Like, this is not going down. No one's investing in a restaurant. I was putting a bunch of money into it. I was like, I'm just certainly not putting money into it. I don't expect you to put money into it. I've got to rethink this whole thing. So my wife and kids and I, we left Brooklyn. We moved to our house upstate.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I took like 3-4 months and I was cool because I just sold a bunch of equity at this restaurant, right? So financially I was like set for a while, and I was like, this is going to give me a time to like pivot and let me rethink my life. Like, do I want to be in the restaurant business? I hired a coach to like work with me. So anybody also that's like in a spot where you're really indecisive or you don't feel like you've got direction, like I always will recommend, start with your fitness, because your fitness will ultimately give you confidence just in general. If you get into a fitness regimen and eating healthy and moving your body will give you confidence in across all areas of your life. But B, hiring a coach or finding a mentor to help you talk through like where you're at has been very helpful for me in my life.
It's like a therapist kind of, right?
Like a therapist, but really I think like therapist is great, but for me it's more about like I wanted a business centric coach, someone that knew business, that I could share my story with and tell them the exact moment, like where I was and the issues that I was experiencing in terms of like direction, and have them help me sort of like see the forest through the trees a little bit.
I like that.
And so I hired this coach. She lives out here. She's wonderful. Her name is Megan Dolce. She's got an amazing coaching business called Ripe. But she basically was like, yo, dude, you're a creative entrepreneur. The restaurant was the medium for you. Yeah. But you could be a sculptor too. You could be a fucking, you could be you could basically create in any medium you want. You have to know that. You have to have confidence there. So like, what is it going to be? And I was like, well, CPG, which is consumer packaged goods, anything that you buy in a store that's in a package, was where I wanted to go anyway. Yeah. So maybe I can just go straight. I can put a line through the restaurant because who knows how long this thing lasts, and I just go straight to CPG. And so she was like, okay, like that's like, let's start there. Little backstory that I somehow forgot to mention. So when Marcus kind of gave me this opportunity to follow him, right, like it was really me following him. He wrote this plan for me, and in this plan he basically said, I mean, we kind of touched on it, but he was basically like, this is what I think you should do, this is what I do, and if you follow this plan, like the success will be attainable for you. You wake up as early as you can in the morning. As soon as you get up, you make your bed and you beeline it to the bathroom. You take a piss, you wash your face, brush your teeth, you put on your contacts, and then you drop down on your knees and ask God for help. He's like, I don't give a fuck if you believe in God, you don't believe in God. You need to start asking for help, and this is a great way to start. So just ask God, ask the universe, whatever you want to call it. Ask for help in the morning. You keep talking. Okay. And then right when you're done with that, you're going to want to like get back into your bedroom, put on a pair of sneakers, and go out for a walk or a run. But I just want you to move your body first thing in the morning after your prayers. And when you get back from that walk or that run, I want you to eat a big bowl of oatmeal.
Oatmeal, that's right.
It's like accessible. It's healthy. You can make it taste like anything you want by adding shit to it. You can add nuts. You can add peanut butter. You can add protein. You can add maple syrup. Like you can add anything you want to it to make it taste good. And then right when you're done with eating your oatmeal, I want you to go to a sober community meeting. And then when you're done with that, I want you to come meet me down at the gym, and we're going to train. And in the rings of Muay Thai is kind of like where I learned a lot of the stuff that I know today, from, getting back up and the no matter what mindset and integrity, honesty, commitment, discipline, all those things I really did learn at Muay Thai. And then after we're done training, you're going to have chicken and broccoli for lunch. And then you're going to take a nap, and then you're going to go to work, and then you'll have chicken and broccoli for dinner. And you're going to go home, and you're going to go right to bed, and right before you hit your bed, you're going to drop on your knees. You're going to say, thank you, God, for helping me stay sober today. And you're going to go to sleep, and then it's going to be just like a rinse and repeat. And that's kind of the life. So he built that structure for me. Yeah. And I followed that to this very single day. Still. Like that is my structure. Right. And, 20 years later, I mean, I mix it up. Man. I don't only have chicken and broccoli.
Still making your bed?
I still make my bed, even if I'm in a hotel.
Yeah, making the bed's cool. Yeah.
Making my bed is like a big thing.
About doing that. I don't know.
So
that's cool.
So when I was thinking about what I was going to do, I was on a run actually, and I was like, oh my God, like it's right here. I've been eating this crazy oatmeal concoction at that point for 16 years.
Damn.
16 years every single day, unless like maybe a dozen times I've strayed away from it.
Yeah.
But it's my favorite meal of the day. And I was like, this is what I've been using to fuel my body every single day. And it's got like 17 ingredients and it takes me a long time to make, but I'm committed to it and I love it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, man, if I can figure out a way to get all this shit into a pouch and have people make it as overnight oats, I think I have a business that I can authentically stand behind, that I can make oatmeal cool, just like I made meatballs cool, just like I made fucking porgy cool. No one's ever made oatmeal cool.
It's true. It's true.
Like, how can I do this? And I already had the brand Kreatures of Habit.
Yep.
So I got home, I told my wife, and she was like, you've really lost it. Like you're going from like 12 restaurants in New York City to like slinging oatmeal. And I was like, well, I just honestly think
wives keep it real, man. I love it.
Yeah, I was like, I just think that this is something that I believe in. Like eating that oatmeal every morning for me, even especially in the early days of sobriety, was just this nutritional win. And I didn't know how powerful nutritional wins were. Mm-hmm. But like, especially like you're a plant-based guy, like nutrition for you is like life.
Absolutely.
It's life and it's life for everyone, but not enough people respect it that way.
True.
It's essential. We need it to survive. Right. And so, what we put into our body actually impacts how we feel, and that
physically. Absolutely. Yeah.
So that physical, like that, eating that bowl of oatmeal every morning, especially in those days was like, yes, I just did something good for myself. Like, I'm on track, it's like the first thing I'm putting into my system every day. Like I felt like a winner, and I still do when I eat it. It sounds cheesy, but it's true, like I start off on the right foot. Like my chances of making better decisions nutritionally throughout the rest of the day are just stronger. When I start with a good one. Yeah. So I started, this is the beginning of the journey with Kreatures. The money that I was going to invest into the restaurant, I actually opened up a bank account with, and I didn't know anything about packaged goods. I knew nothing. I'd never done anything in that world. But it goes back to this idea that I call it the 3 C's. There's 3 things that I think are required for happiness and success in life. One is commitment. You got to be able to commit. Commitment is the underpinnings of anything great. It just is, right? Yeah. And it's the hardest thing, right? Like, because commitment is there's not like a destination with it, right? It's just like you commit to something, like it's just open-ended. Totally. Yeah. And so commitment was accountable and shit. So commitment was something that I knew I was capable of. And then but with enough commitment, over and over again, even through different ventures or endeavors, you got you've got it builds courage. It breeds courage. I mean, it breeds confidence. So commitment breeds confidence, and confidence is required for taking risks. Absolutely. You know what I mean? Like confidence, like I mean, it can work the other way too. Like alcohol and drugs will give you confidence to do stupid shit, right? Like, but like a lot of people use alcohol and drugs to get confidence, right? Yeah. Getting confidence the clean and sober way is just far more impactful because you're making clear-headed decisions. You don't need like anything from the outside. Yeah, man. Absolutely. To develop a way of thinking inside. It's literally an inside job. Yeah. So commitment, confidence, and then courage. And so I didn't know shit about this business, but I had the confidence and the courage to just say, fuck it, I'm going to do it. And I'm going to figure it out. It's the pandemic too. It's the pandemic. It's a crazy time to start something. So I just called everybody I knew that had touched this business, and I started asking for a lot of help. And I always suggest people, like, when in doubt, just ask for help. A lot of us struggle to ask for help. And I just started building it, dude. And it's now 3 years in, and the product is called Meal One. It's a blend of gluten and glyphosate-free oats. It's made with plant-based protein. It's got chia seeds, flax seeds, pumpkin seeds, pink salt for electrolytes. We add vegan D3 from algae. You don't taste the algae, but that's how we derive the D3. Which is very important because so many people are lacking vitamin D3 these days. So it's got D3. It's got really epic, strong probiotic and digestive enzymes for gut health. And we've iterated now on it 3 times. So we've revised the formula 3 times to just continue to optimize it.
30 grams of protein.
30 grams of plant-based protein in there.
It's incredible, man.
Yeah, and so
I love it.
That's kind of like and
is there oatmeal lane? Is there like big oatmeal companies? I know Quaker Oats, like getting in that world. Is it like, who are you talking to? Like, how once you get into that world, is there a lot of oatmeal companies?
So I mean, there's an oatmeal brand. So the only other thing that I would say is that like I didn't want to create Kreatures of Habit to be an oatmeal company.
Yeah,
Kreatures of Habit is a brand that really develops super optimized, totally convenient nutritional habits that you can have throughout the day to keep you on track on your nutritional journey, right? So so it's kind of like this wake up to wind down philosophy, right? You start your day with meal 1. About a year and change ago, we launched a sleep support product called Creature Sleep.
Yeah,
and it's a sleep support hot chocolate, so it's super delicious, also plant-based. It's got a bunch of amazing ingredients, but I wanted something that did not use melatonin, because melatonin fucks me up and it fucks up a lot of people.
Fucks me up too.
So this has no melatonin in it. It's got no sugar in it. It's only sweetened with monk fruit, and it's absolutely bomb. It tastes like Swiss Miss hot chocolate, but it's really good for you, and it helps you relax and fall and stay asleep. So you start your day with meal 1, you finish your day with Creature Sleep, and then we have a protein bar coming out pretty soon.
Sick.
Called the Creature Bar. Unbelievably delicious protein
20 grams
bar.
of protein as well.
20 grams of protein, plant-based, super delicious and bomb. That'll be coming out in a few months.
I'm excited for that, man.
So now I've learned this whole new business, and I've got, I'm winging it, dude.
Is it going good though so far?
It's going great. It's going great. We only sell on our website. We're about to launch Amazon.
Awesome.
But we're selling a lot of oatmeal, man.
It's great, man. I love it for traveling, for the listeners, people in bands or people that travel all the time. I love having it on tour. I just had it in South America with me. I had it in Europe all summer, especially me being a gluten-free vegan. This is like game changer for me. It's so easy to travel with, man. I love it.
Thanks, man.
So cool.
Yeah, I'm doing this gut health cleanse right now, so I'm on this weird elimination diet. And
so you can't have this now?
I can't have it. I haven't been able to have it for 5 weeks. And
no
it's killing
way,
me,
dude. Really?
It's the longest I've ever been away from having oatmeal. Yeah.
Holy shit.
I even took a picture of my breakfast this morning, and I was like, oh my God, like this looks delicious, but I fucking miss meal 1 so bad. I love this stuff. I really love it. It's so delicious. It's like addicting. It's
oh, it really is. Sometimes I have it at night and shit too. I'm like, not just in the morning. I don't know.
Yeah, because it's also it airs on the sweeter side, but it's not over the top sweet. But it's got the perfect balance of sweet and salt. It's got the crunch from the pumpkin seeds.
It fills you up. It fills you up nicely. It's not like sometimes if I make too much oatmeal, I'm just kind of bloated and kind of like feeling heavy. But this doesn't do that to me.
Well, the reason why this doesn't do that, like oatmeal on its own, is like not a good idea.
Okay.
Because oatmeal on its own is basically
it's wheat too, right? Is it
well,
wheat?
no, I mean it's so oatmeal is its own grain.
Okay.
But it's just like a blast of carbohydrates, right? And even though oats are a complex carbohydrate, so they're a slower metabolizing carbohydrate, without the addition of protein and healthy fats, it is going to burn through faster. But when you add healthy fats and a substantial amount of protein to it, it's a complete meal, which ultimately takes the body just a longer time to metabolize. So it's just like this even, smooth kind of energy source that we've nailed. We nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Isn't regular oatmeal, they say, just always eat oatmeal because it's good for cholesterol?
It's great for cholesterol. There's no doubt about it. There's a lot of health benefits to regular oatmeal, but I would never just tell anybody that, just go make a big bowl of oatmeal. You want to have the protein. You want to have the fats in there. You want to have, if you're going to use oatmeal as a meal, you definitely want, like if you're just having oats, like definitely have some protein on the side. Like you want to have protein on the side. The beauty of meal 1 is that
everything's in there.
Everything's in there, and it's for everyone. It's for meat eaters. It's for plant-based people. It's for young people. It's for old people. It's for everyone.
People love oatmeal.
People love oatmeal, and also like it's hard to get 30 grams of protein in the morning without like eating some garbage.
Yeah. How do you even figure that out? Was at one point where like, oh, well, you only have like 20 grams, let's get it higher. Like, how do you figure that out?
Well, there was another oatmeal on the market that had 20 grams in it. And so I was like, I'm not going to do 25. I'm going to go over the top, and I'm going to make it the highest protein per serving in the game, and 30 grams. I want anywhere from 30 to 50 grams of protein in the morning because I work out like a beast.
Yeah, you do. You're savage.
And so what I do is I actually add an extra scoop of plant protein to my meal one every day. So I get that 45 to 50 grams of protein.
Yeah, the ingredients are amazing, man. It's all healthy ingredients. It's like,
yeah, there's nothing bad in there.
No,
there's
man.
nothing bad in there, you know.
It's so cool. The response has been great for it.
Super good.
I see ads popping up all the time with you and stuff.
Yeah. We just get, you know, like the goal is just to, you know, I'm not in a race here. Like, this is a marathon, you know, like I want to get in front of as many dope people as we can, and people to really love it. And, you know, there's a lot of people that I speak to a lot of our customers. So like a big part of what I do now is, because I miss the hospitality thing a lot. Like, I actually spend probably like 6 hours a week broken out between Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I open up my Shopify store, and I open up the orders, and I just start at the top, and I just call customers, and
Really?
I call them, and I just introduce myself. I thank
Dude, that's
them.
amazing, man.
Yeah, I thank them for being a part of it. I ask them how they found out about us, and like if there's anything that we can be doing better, that they're, you know, any feedback that they want to give, any flavors that they'd like to see.
They kind of trip out when you call them?
Trip out. They're like, wait, what? This is
so
Michael?
Sick, Mike, dude. Yeah, dude. It's so DIY.
Yeah, so I love doing that, you know, and
the bar's coming out when? Next year?
Bar's coming out next year.
It's exciting.
I'm really excited for it. The packaging is super dope. The bar itself is like, it's everything I want, you know. And I'm also not gunning for like one of these, like, let me see how I can make the lowest calorie, highest protein, fucked up ingredient bar in the game. Like, I'm gunning for, like, I want this bar to be a snack that's got 20 grams of protein that people want to eat every single day, because they know that the ingredients are awesome and natural and all real.
And it tastes good.
And it tastes so good. It's not just good, dude. The flavors that we're launching are chocolate peanut butter banger. So that's one flavor.
That's great.
And then almond brownie love is the other flavor. And, I added banger and love because I'm just like, yo, man, like, this is, you see a lot of, you pick up a bar and it's like chocolate peanut butter banger. You're like, you're going to smile, right? Like,
absolutely,
what were they thinking? Banger, but like, that's what it is, right? Like almond brownie love, like, oh, that's kind of, that's thoughtful,
Yeah. So you're there during the process with the bar and the taste and all that stuff you do.
That's like a big part.
Mix.
I'm the guy,
it's cool, man.
I do all the R&D, for everything, and typically it takes me at least a year to develop. Like meal one took me probably 14 or 15 months to get right. Creatures Sleep took me well over a year, and I've been working on the bar now for like 13, 14 months,
Damn, it's exciting. Like some of those bars are like too much stuff in there. They taste like dry and kind of clay and weird. Some of the protein bars are hard to eat, man.
Yeah.
Which, like, I have to eat this because it's healthy, but it's not. It doesn't really taste good either.
And also, like, I just want to make the protein bar that people stock. Like, no one stocks protein bars in their pantry. Like, no one keeps protein bars in their house. Like, they pick up a protein bar in the store because they're like, oh, I want something to eat. I want a snack. I want protein. But like, my goal is to make the protein bar that people have in their house stacked.
Yeah.
Like that's what literally the messaging is. This is the protein bar that you're going to feel good about eating every day and have stocked in your house. So you don't have to worry about stopping somewhere to get a snack. You have 2 in your bag at all times.
Yeah.
And it just shows up at your door every month,
It's exciting. So how many flavors? 2 right now?
Launch with 2, and then, we'll ultimately develop more.
That's cool, man. Any other things on the horizon? You do all kinds of stuff, though, I feel like.
I mean, I got like the podcast is something that I love doing. Creatures Have a podcast. Yeah. I get to sit down with a lot of dope people. I got to get you on the pod next time when you're in New York.
Be sick.
I sit down with people and I ask them about their habits, rituals, and routines, because I feel like habits for me, my habits almost killed me. And now my habits have really developed the guy that I only wished I could become, and it's all due to my habits, and habits are also known as just decisions that we make on a daily consistent basis, right? And again, like it's a double-edged sword. You can, when we hear the word habit, it's more common to hear people say, "Oh man, I got to break this fucking habit, man." It's
so true. A bad habit. Yeah, dude.
It's a lot less people saying, "Man, I got this great habit that I want to tell everybody about."
Dude, it's so true. People don't do that. That's crazy.
Yeah, so I'm trying to like change the dynamic of the word.
Positive, yeah.
You know, so that because that's my story, man. Like I really did change, and you guys heard like what my life was like, you know.
Dude, you flip from death to health, man. It's crazy, man. It's just like and you're still young, man. It's fucking yeah. So I mean, obviously your daily rituals. Obviously you're doing this in the morning. You're working out. You're running. You're doing all that. Oh yeah, thank you. So for the listeners, he gave me a weight vest, which I've been using. It's a 20-pound weight vest. It's a beautiful weight vest. It's a game changer. Just walking. It's so good for you, right?
I love rucking, dude. So walking with a weight vest or like weighted backpack is called rucking.
Oh, it's one of them.
It's like one of the greatest additions to a fitness program, because all you got to do is throw that thing on and go for a fucking 20-minute walk, and like you're getting great movement in, you know. And
it's burning too, right? You're telling me this.
Yeah. So basically, with the weight, it just increases your heart rate, right? So like if you're walking, typically you're walking like you're intentionally going out for a walk, and you're walking like not like dragging your feet. You're like walking, not like power walking, but you're walking normally. Your heart rate will be anywhere from like 70 to 85 beats per minute. You put on a weight vest and you walk at that same pace, you're in like the 100 to 125 beats per minute. So you're burning more calories. You're burning fat, really, because that's like the fat burning zone. Okay. And, you know, especially if you can get some hills in there. I love rucking, and, you know, getting outside and, you know, taking a walk. Like people really undervalue how powerful walking is. Walking is like one of the greatest forms of exercise. Getting 10,000 steps a day is like enough.
It's my mish every day, dude.
It's enough, you know, man. Like if you're not someone that loves to go to the gym and you've got bad back or bad joints, you don't want to go for a run, you know, you don't want to be inside on a stationary bike, or you don't have a bike, like going out for a great 20 to 30 minute walk every day is like clears the mind. It puts you outside and you're moving your body, man. Like we were designed to walk. Like humans were designed to be on our feet, not be on our ass. So and true, a lot of us spend time a lot on our ass, you know. Do you run? You still run too, as well? I still run. Yeah. You know, I don't run these crazy long distances anymore. You know, my fitness journey's evolved over time, and it was like 10 years Muay Thai. Then I really got into endurance running, and I was running, you know, marathons, and then awesome. I got into fucking bodybuilding, and I became like a pro bodybuilder, which is hilarious. Then I got into CrossFit, you know. CrossFit too. You did it all, man. Yeah. I think for you, it's like just a journey of just pushing and just trying and just like. I want to take every ounce I can out of life, man. Like I really want to experience life. You know, I think I'm like a real hunter at heart, and I'm super curious about shit, and I want to lift up rocks all day long and see what's under them. You know, my favorite thing to do with my kids, because it's also one of my favorite things to do, is like we go out into the woods and we just lift up rocks, and we call it critter hunting. But you know, like we just like, I love to. I'm like a discovery junkie, man. I want to know what I'm capable of. You know. I love that. Do you have any major regrets in your life? Yeah, the only real regret I have is when Finley was born, my older son. Finn was born in March. I opened up Seamore's in June, and then I had to go on the road to shoot this TV show in August. And the first 2 years of Finn's life, it was like I was like not around as much as I like to be around, like not nearly as much as I'm around now. Yeah. And so if I had to turn back the clock, I would have drawn a firmer boundary on my time outside of the house, you know. I didn't know because I was a new dad, and I was living this fast-paced life with work, and I just, you know, and so I don't think that I've definitely, like, I don't work after 6 o'clock now. I have breakfast and dinner with my family every night. You shut your phone off at night too? I shut my phone off at night. The only time I turn it back on is after the kids are down to make sure that shits are all good. Yeah. But I spend a lot of time with my family, and I used to think that, like, oh man, like, you know, working from 8 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, like that's not an entrepreneur. Like entrepreneurs work fucking 12, 14, 16 hours a day. Yeah. And I was so wrong, you know, like I work 8 hours a day, man. And I have balance in my life. Yeah. In a good place, man. You know, and there's times where I've got to turn the volume up, of course, but you know, I watch so many people just burn out, you know, from this kind of lifestyle where like if you don't draw the boundary and you're your own boss, you will burn out and actually hate this life.
Yeah.
You know,
you want to love it too.
You want to love it, man. You know,
you're an optimist or pessimist?
I'm like the most unbelievable optimist.
You are, dude. I love
just
it.
Like,
so
I'm
posy.
like, I might be the most optimistic dude you've ever met.
I love it. But it's so crazy because you went through so many dark fucking times in your life, but you never like quit and never gave up on yourself. You know, regardless if you didn't think you were believing in yourself or doing the right things at that moment, you're a survivor, dude. Like
I'll say this. I think the one thing that if you guys are still listening here,
they're
God
listening
bless you.
for sure, man. Listen,
yeah. If you take one thing from this episode, it's two things. Number one, there's only one thing you've got to do perfectly in life. Only one thing. Get back up. That's it. The only one thing you got to do. It's it. You could fail 100 times. If you get up 101, you're golden. You could fail 1,000 times. If you get up 1,001, gravy. You've got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
My life has been a series of just getting back up. It's just like I fall down 7, I'm up 8. I fall down 15, I'm up 16. And I just know that endurance is what wins the game. And I'm the kind of guy that will fight to the absolute death. I will not give up and I will always get back up. And people know that about me.
Yeah.
And that's what I was in Muay Thai. I learned that in Muay Thai, where I was like not the toughest guy, not the biggest guy. But I'm telling you, you are going to have to knock me out good. Because I'm getting back up.
Yeah.
I'm going to come back and fight. Period. Done. I'm going to fight. And
I love that, man.
Yeah, and I never give up. And so that's the one thing I think really we only have to worry about being perfect at. And then secondly, ask for as much help as humanly possible. Ask for way more help than you're comfortable asking for.
Yeah.
Because we all need help. And whether that's help from God, whether that's help from friends and family, whether that's help from business colleagues, whether that's help from, you know, someone that you're afraid to ask for help from. Like asking for help is a real power. And in many cases, you might not think so, but when people get asked for help, it empowers them because they feel needed and wanted. And a lot of the times when you think that oh man, that person's never going to help me, like there's take a fucking chance.
Yeah, man.
Like take a chance. Cause you know how many people have DM'd me and
I'm sure, man,
I'm like fucking on it with them. I get back to them and you know.
Are you checking your DMs a lot? Are you on social media a lot?
Yeah, I mean, I try to be good with it, you know, like, but yeah, man, I answer pretty much all of my DMs.
Awesome, man.
You know, I've got a little crew that helps me engage with other accounts and, you know, like and comment and shit, but, you know, just to continue building. But, you know, as far as my DMs go, like, I'm very good at answering DMs.
Awesome. Give me your top 5 MCs.
Top 5 MCs. I got to think, Black Thought from the Roots.
Nice, man. Hell yeah.
Black Thought from the Roots.
Incredible MC, dude.
Ghostface from Wu-Tang.
Let's go, bro.
I think, and just because I love Ghostface so much, if he's listening to this, he's not going to like the next one that I say, but I got to say, I really think Action Bronson is a great MC.
Respect, man.
I think Eminem could very well be the best MC to ever live, maybe.
Yes.
It's
great. It's a great top 5, man, actually.
Let's see, the last
one more. Let's think.
Yeah,
man.
let me put some
New
thought
York
to this
shit.
one.
Your grimy days in the streets. You're listening to.
So I mean, like one of my favorite groups of all time is Black Moon, but most people won't know them.
I love Black Moon, man.
I feel like Black Moon,
Buckshot
Shorty.
Something just happened to him really bad, man.
What happened?
He's okay. He's in the hospital. My friend told me about it today. So shout out to Buckshot Shorty. He follows me for some reason on Instagram. I don't know why, but I love Black Moon.
So that you know,
Bucktown.
Black Moon really just like kind of set the tone for my childhood. You know,
incredible album, dude.
I really love that
Smith and Wesson.
Woo-hoo! So I don't know if Buckshot.
How about Gangstar?
Oh, Gangstar, dude. Rakim is like, you know, that dude might be the 5th, maybe.
Guru, yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right, Guru.
It's all good. Rakim's the best.
Rakim's also good. KRS-One.
Woo! De La Tribe. Mobb Deep. Ooh, that's a sick soundtrack for Mobb Deep in New York.
Mobb Deep is always on my playlist.
New York has the best shit, dude.
Dude, the 90s hip hop was the best. I can't believe I just blew Guru for Rakim.
It's okay though. De La Soul, Tribe, Biggie, of course, Nas,
Biggie,
Jay-Z.
you know, of course. How can I fucking forget Biggie? It's so hard to say the top
Jay-Z.
5, but I really do think like, you know, there's so many good ones.
It's cool. He said Black Moon though. It's underrated record, man. J. Rue the Damager. Woo.
J. Rue. I saw J. Rue. And
Sun Rises in the East.
Who did I see? Who was that? That was oh wait, that was Gangsta. No. It was J. Rue the Damager. It was a J. Rue was. It was J. Rue at Tramps, and Gangstar came out.
Yeah, because they're homies, they're friends. Yeah.
That was an amazing show.
DJ Premier, dude, this fucking
DJ Premier for sure. I mean, Premier.
Premier. But Smith and Wesson, all that shit.
Yeah.
Back then, there was so much.
Yeah, like I put a playlist together. Anybody wants a really dope,
check it out. Yeah, I'm down.
A really dope playlist. It's a 3.5 hour long playlist because I put it together for when I ran the New York City Marathon.
That's sick.
It's called Stanton Balling on Spotify. So if you want just like a dope all 90s hip hop and
all
like,
New York shit.
All New York shit and a little bit of like
it?
Nirvana and a couple of like there's like Nirvana in there. There's a little Jane's Addiction in there.
Great.
Jane's Addiction is one of my favorite bands of all
Jane's
time.
Addiction, dude.
You know, I love Jeff Buckley. I think I don't think I put Jeff Buckley in there because it was a little too melancholy for a run. You know. But
that's cool running through New York, man, where you grew up. That must have been awesome. The New York Marathon looks so cool. All the different boroughs and bridges and all that shit. You used to do the triple bypass thing you did. And
triple
stuff.
bypass is my jam.
Damn, dude.
Anybody wants a really good run, if you're a runner and you're in New York City and you want to run, that like means a lot to me. Because
is this your name? You named it this?
Yeah, the triple bypass. So I used to run with a running crew called Bridge Runners.
Yeah, I heard of them. Yeah, for sure.
My boy Mike Sace. Shout out to Sace.
I know Sace.
Yeah. Shout out to Sace.
I remember Nike used to sponsor it was the whole thing with that.
Yeah, so I ran with the Bridge Runners.
Sace,
like OG Bridge Runners.
Wow.
And Sace is like an older brother to
I forgot he ran too. That's cool. Yeah.
He's a crazy runner. But we used to do these bridge runs and so the triple bypass is basically, it doesn't matter where you start. You could start in Manhattan, you could start in Brooklyn. I would start in Brooklyn and I would run over the Williamsburg Bridge, down to the Manhattan Bridge, over the Manhattan Bridge, down to the Brooklyn Bridge, back over the Brooklyn Bridge into Manhattan, up to the Williamsburg Bridge in Manhattan, and then back over to Brooklyn over the Williamsburg.
Bro, man. With the whole crew?
With the whole crew.
How long is that?
I mean, I did that run a lot solo because that would be like my like 3-4 day a week run.
How long would that take?
About like an hour 10 maybe. It's like a 9.5 mile run.
Okay, it just sounds like great. Yeah.
It's a really dope run.
Damn.
Especially if you do that run like in the summertime in the evening. That's why I loved going the Williamsburg to Manhattan Bridge back into Brooklyn, and then I'd dip over to the Brooklyn Bridge, and running over the Brooklyn Bridge looking into Manhattan in the evening in the summer is just like so dope.
Damn,
it's just so dope, you know.
You think you're in New York for life at this point?
I mean, I'm in upstate New York now, so
it's
I
nice
feel like
up there though. Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's the best. I mean, I feel like I'm a little bit of a traitor because I feel like it'd be hard for me to move back down to the city now, like being upstate and having a lot of space and peace.
Yeah, family, it's different, man.
But I think I'll end up back in the city when I'm older, you know, like we'll probably, you know, hopefully, you know, the money's right and I can go buy the place that I want in there, you know, in the city, in the West Village.
Is your sister in New York still?
No, my sister's down in Florida now.
Okay. And mom's where?
Mom's in Florida too.
Okay,
they both moved to Florida in the pandemic.
Okay. So they're kind of close to each other.
Yeah, my mom's got this little 1-bedroom condo. My sister has a really dope crib in this like new up and coming part of Florida called Wellington.
Nice.
Really,
so family's doing good. Everybody's good, man.
Family's good. Wife and kids are just, you know,
how old are your kids?
Best 9 and 7.
Great.
Finley and Dakota, they're beautiful. They're my life. I love those kids more than anything on the planet. I'll fucking eat somebody's eyeballs for those kids, literally.
Yeah.
I'll rip out somebody's fucking jugular easy.
For sure.
You know, like I'll do anything. Those dudes know that, like,
of course, man.
Their dad is just, you know, they you know, they love me, you know. I love them. It's like I didn't know.
It's beautiful, man. Your journey's so fucking incredibly inspiring, man. It's crazy, man. Just sitting with you right now. You're alive. We're talking about it. You know what I mean? And it's crazy how like our paths have crossed through other people in different generations of, music and graffiti and just New York people. It's cool, man. It's such a small world,
Totally.
I'm stoked for you, man, where you're at now and everything you're doing. It's awesome, man.
Thank you, dude.
I love that I can eat your products, and
I love that you're eating it, man. We got to get the plant-based world on it.
I know, especially the bar too, man. Yeah.
Totally.
I'm like the president of the Vegan Illuminati, so I'm gonna get you. We're gonna get you in the mix.
Let's do that
when this shit comes out. But people can find you on social media. Obviously, the brand's on there, your personal one's on there, and then what the hell's going on? This kid, fucking got Eminem in the live.
He's in it. He keeps dipping in and out.
Are you bleaching your hair again?
Yeah, and I'm gonna do cheetah print.
Who are you with?
Chloe.
Okay, got my kids. We're doing a podcast.
Take that part out. People are gonna think I have a girlfriend.
I'll take. We're gonna edit it out because no.
Man single. He's open goods.
Well, thank you for being there, dude. I appreciate you. This is awesome. I could talk to you fucking for hours. It's super inspiring, man, your journey. And yeah, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me. We're kindred spirits, you know. Man. We were talking about it's funny, like I don't know much about astrology, but like my life is surrounded. Everybody in my life for the most part is either October or April. It's October or April. My wife is April. A lot of my friends are April. A lot of my friends are October.
So crazy.
Everybody that works at Kreatures of Habit is an April baby. It's weird, man. But
Aries for life, bro.
Yeah, dude.
Well, thank you, bro.
Thanks for having me, man.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Peace. I always ask my guests if they have any regrets. I personally don't have any regrets. Even when it comes to my tattoos, I have the silliest tattoos. Even my ET on my leg, it's still a childhood memory for me, and I love it. I've had tattoos on top of tattoos strictly because I wanted more tattoos. I started getting tattoos when I was 18. I'm 52 now, and I can't stop. I've had laser treatment before on something on my arm. It's 4 tattoos on top of each other. And that experience at that place was pretty fast. It was pretty cold. It was in and out, swiped the credit card. Don't really tell me much. Didn't give me much details of anything was going to happen. So I never went back. So as of most recently, I'm so lucky enough to have had 2 sessions at Removery Tattoo Removal. My tattoo on my arm that looks like a big black blob is now super light. I've had 2 sessions. I have a long road ahead of me. None of this stuff happens overnight. You cannot take a tattoo up in one sitting. You have to be patient. And it's painful. They ice you up. It's super fast. To me, it felt like a bunch of rubber bands. But what's more painful than that is looking at something on your body that you think you're stuck with for the rest of your life. That sucks. But now for me, I'm really happy I started this journey. I'm slowly going to get this tattoo removed. I never thought in a million years to have any kind of real estate on my arm. I don't even know what I want, but it's exciting. I'm so honored to announce that One Life, One Chance podcast is now with Removery. Call 866-934-4570 or go to removery.com. Use TobyH20 and get $100 off your first session. One of the most experienced tattoo removal companies in the world. Over 600,000 removal treatments done. 100 locations. US, Canada, and Australia. State-of-the-art peak-away laser technology. Cryotechnology to reduce any discomfort. This is so exciting for me because all I do in these podcasts is talk about tattoos. From day one, if you've been listening to this podcast, talk about tattoos, talk about getting removed, talk about getting covered up. So this is such a perfect fit for me. Definitely check out One Life, One Chance podcast, episode 281. I have Carmen Brody, Mike McTurnan, and Dustin Ortle from Removery. And this is over 2-hour conversation. People had submitted questions. It's an incredible conversation breaking down the do's, the don'ts, the fears, process, the results, everything you could imagine about getting a tattoo removed. It's all in this podcast. It's an incredible episode. I appreciate them all coming out for it. So check that out if you want to learn more about Removery and what it's like to get a tattoo removed. Once again, go to removery.com or call 866-934-4570. Use my code TobyH20 and get $100 off. These guys are located everywhere. Try it out.